in to get ready to come out for the warm-up here this afternoon. 6,000 Sunderland fans to our left. We were watching the coaches arrive a good hour ago. There were the coach after coach after coach arriving and parking in the park opposite the stadium here. And we're on the west side of the country. And so we know that Rob Mason, Sunderland's club historian, as the crow flies, he's probably, I guess, about 115, 120 miles away on the sunny side of the street, the sunny side of the Solway. Anyway, Rob
Hello,
Mason,
Teddy. How are you doing, fella? Good afternoon. How are you doing? Yep.
How's things?
It's going to be a roller coaster ride today, isn't it?
Sunny southwest of Scotland.
Yeah. Corner, it's about 120 miles as the crow flies. It's a lot longer as the road goes, but yeah, looking forward to the match, and confident that Sunderland will get the result that we want at Deepdale. Whether the other results go for us, well, that's out of our control. All we can do is win our game.
Yeah, and the bottom line is, you know, talking to people, if Sunderland do everything they need to do and win this game, but they don't make it through because of those other results, it has still been a fantastic season.
They've completely surpassed expectations. Very few years you can say they've completely surpassed expectations. I think everybody remembers that, you know, last year we were 5th in the division below. Add to that the fact that this year we've had such a phenomenal number of not just injuries, but long-term injuries to key players. You could probably pick an 11 that was almost as strong as the team that's taken the field this afternoon, from the players who were injured, with 2 or 3 making up the numbers from those that are on the substitutes bench this afternoon. And I don't need to go through all the players that are injured. Everybody knows the 3 people that are injured. But the lads who were on the park, the lads who've been playing, have done an absolutely brilliant job. And I, for one, think that Tony Mowbray has done a brilliant job to get the players playing so well, getting such good results, considering all the disadvantages he's had with the absentees that he's had to cope with. And finally, Nick, when you add on to all of that, the fact that in most games this season, the team have been so good to watch. Everybody's had a really terrific season. And it'd be lovely to finish on a high today with a win. If that win then makes, you know, a place in the playoffs, well, great, we'll go for them with the same sort of confidence and vigour that we went for last season's playoffs. And despite the injuries, we'll fear nobody. We'll take them on and we'll have a go.
There will be 6,000 in the ground from Sunderland. There are more here. We know there are dozens, hundreds more who travel without tickets. A lot of them were in Blackpool last night by the look of things.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's going to be, as ever, a sort of festive, if you like, in inverted commas, end to the season for Sunderland in terms of the 46 games. Now, last week we were talking about the last team that actually went up successive promotions. Yeah. And that was Notts County. And I was looking at those just to reassure myself that was right today, and I knew it was, but I was just interested to see what teams Notts County beat back then, and it was Tranmere and Brighton to get into the fledgling Premier League. But what interested me more was the manager of Notts County then was Neil Warnock. Yeah, and I thought, well, how ironic it would be if Tony Mowbray then was to do the same as Neil Warnock back in 1991.
Well, Neil Warnock's a serial promotion winner. And, you know, he's not everybody's cup of tea, but you look at, I mean, personally, I like Neil Warnock. And you look at his record and you can't argue with it. He's done fantastically. And, you know, he's come back this season and worked wonders at Huddersfield Town to keep Huddersfield Town up. And when Huddersfield held Sunderland to a draw just a few weeks ago at the Stadium of Light in a night match, Huddersfield came and were well worth the draw. It wasn't a game where you came away saying, oh, we were really unlucky not to win that. Obviously, we were disappointed not to win it, but Huddersfield played well, and it was a decent game, and you could see exactly what Neil Warnock had done. But you know, that's Huddersfield. That's their business. Their season's effectively over already. They're safe now, you know, and guaranteed another season in the Premier League. Sunderland's season obviously is very much alive because we're still looking for the opportunity to extend our season and get the results today. But yes, the comparison between Warnock and Mowbray is a good one. You know, they're both very, very experienced managers, know what they're doing, have been around the block a few times. And if Tony Mowbray can take Sunderland up into the Premier League, that would be an absolutely phenomenal achievement. But even if we win today and don't go up, draw or lose and don't go up, whatever happens, you can't argue the fact this has been an absolutely tremendous season. If we get into the playoffs and if we are successful, happy days, we'd all look forward to it and we'd all recognise what an immensely tough challenge it would be. And if we don't qualify for the playoffs, well, we'll dust ourselves down, we'll think about it, we'll get people fit for the start of next season, try and continue to develop the squad and look to have a go next season, because the target this season was to consolidate in the Championship. And boy, have they done an awful lot more than consolidate in the Championship.
Yes, indeed. I've just been handed the team sheets. Just quickly, Preston make a couple of changes this afternoon, including bringing back in Liam Delap, the son of Rory Delap. Rory, of course, one-time Sunderland player, briefly broke his leg, but he comes back in one of a couple of changes. Now, going back to Neil Warnock, I told this story on Total Sport, so forgive me if you heard it already,
hello mate, welcome.
Following
Millwall to draw today and something to get through.
Defeat of Sheffield United and Huddersfield staying up in the Championship. It was reported that Neil Warnock had read the local newspaper, and the Huddersfield Town, or I think it's the Huddersfield Examiner is the newspaper, their Huddersfield reporter is called Stephen Chicken. More about that in a moment. And he'd written what he thought the team should be against Sheffield United, and Neil Warnock admitted after the game that he had actually read the piece.
I'm just going to enjoy
and decided to
today,
change his team on the back of what he read in the newspaper.
It's been such a superb season.
And it worked. But interestingly enough, I was then told today a story about Stephen Chicken. I said to someone here who'll know Stephen Chicken, I said, seriously, is he called Chicken? And I was told yes, he really is called Stephen Chicken. To the point that once he went to book a table at Nando's and they thought he was taking the mick. So when he turned up, the restaurant was full and they had to apologise profusely because they didn't believe he was called Chicken. You'd have thought he'd change his name.
Well, I've seen a few chickens on the pitch, but thankfully they don't play for us any longer.
Indeed. Well, look back to today. It was interesting listening to Tony Mowbray, and he was talking about nurturing the younger players, and the whole sort of. And we've heard it several times this season when he talks about the world that the younger players live in compared to the world that he inhabits. And this is a ground and a club which has got a rich history. And I sort of jokingly said to him he would have to explain to the players when they come out onto the pitch who is Tom Finney, who is Alan Kelly, and you'd hope he wouldn't have to explain who Bill Shankly is, but I fear that he probably will have to.
Well, you would hope you wouldn't have to explain who Tom Finney was either, or Alan Kelly for that matter. But we have to remember that Preston is a club steeped in such history that while the National Football Museum is based now in the centre of Manchester, it was originally based in Preston and still has some offices in Preston next to Deepdale, and it was chosen simply because of that club's stature in the early years of football. People who know their football history will know that in the very, very first year of the Football League, Preston not only won the league, but also won the FA Cup to do the double. They've always been a club with a great historical past, just as Sunderland have got a great historical past. And they're a proper football club. They don't have the sort of fan base that Sunderland have, but those that do support Preston are, a very, very devoted Preston followers. Because obviously, if you live in that part of the country, you haven't got exactly very far to travel to see some of the most successful sides in the land. But to the credit of those people, they choose to support their hometown team, and which is always what I would admire. It's easy to be a Glory supporter, and it's a club that are well regarded in football, and rightly so. But of course, today all we're interested in is taking 3 points off them, and from their point of view, they'll want to go out on a high. And as I'm sure you've mentioned in the week on Total Sport, I would imagine this time last year, Preston went into a game with nothing to play for against Middlesbrough, who had everything to play for, and they beat Middlesbrough 4-1. So we've got nothing to. There's no way you can go into the game today thinking this is going to be an easy ride. Preston have got nothing to play for. It's going to be a very, very difficult game. But we've got an excellent away record, and we need one more push today to take another away win, which would be the 11th away win of the season, and it could be the most important one of the campaign. Nick.
Well, I mean, you talk about there'll be no pushover. They've got Tom Cannon up front, who's on loan from Everton. He arrived in January and he's made a big difference for them. He's got 8 goals in the Championship this season. And yeah, they've got a goal threat. I mean, that's the bottom line. They have Troy Parrott as well, who was a player that Sunderland themselves coveted at the start of the season, but decided to come to Preston for Troy Parrott.
Who?
Troy Parrott.
Who?
Troy Parrott. And he decided to come here to get first team football because he didn't think he'd get it at Sunderland. And you mentioned the Football League as well. Of course, that Preston used to be the headquarters of the Football League until recently. They moved to London. So, as you say, it's the sort of epicentre of football amongst some big football clubs historically. Blackpool and Burnley, Preston, not so much Blackburn, I think, really, because they're perhaps the poorer cousins, but back in the 50s. Don Goodman's strolling along the bottom of the stand here, because of course this is one of the televised games here this afternoon as well. But as we say, Rob, you know, you can never this season write this team off, can you? It's a sort of one of the standout features of this young team is that never say die attitude, and as Patrick Roberts said last week after the Watford game, after that late equaliser, it's in Sunderland's DNA.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's been a lot of games this season where we've dropped points, penalty, we dropped 2 points, and the 4-4 draw to Underhall, or the game early when and managed to go after a free kick, and then the goalkeeper at the end came up from the corner. There's been plenty of when you come off thinking a bit naivety there, you know, from a young team. We've cost ourselves late goals, but there's been a phenomenal number of times where they've fought back and come back, obviously just recently coming back from 2-0 down at home to fight and take a point with that great goal from Patrick Roberts. So no, they're never out of the game. They're a young, vibrant, hungry team, and no matter, you know, if they were losing with 10 minutes to go, you still wouldn't bat against them actually winning, never mind drawing. There's so much to play for this afternoon, and they'll certainly give it all they've got, as will the supporters give it all they've got. I suspect it will seem rather like a home game this afternoon, and you know, they'll have the tremendous backing as they always have. And if they get the result and the other results go well for us, as I said, well, happy days. If come 5 o'clock when all the results are in, Sunderland have not qualified for the playoffs, while there'll be a little bit of initial disappointment, I think everybody should realise what a terrific season it's been and how well they've done to even put themselves in a position to going into the last game of the season with an opportunity to get into the playoffs, especially in the light of the vast number of injuries they've suffered.
Rob, well, we may yet still be talking to you next,
good point there,
possibly Saturday night in the first leg of the playoffs. We'll keep our fingers crossed. If we don't,
I'm looking forward to another visit to Sunderland this season. Hopefully to come and see the playoff game. But let's win this afternoon's game and then see what happens.
Yes, with the caveat that we don't. Thank you for all your help this season.
And thank you as well, Nick and Gary.
Thanks.
It's been a pleasure. Rob Mason,
Cheers,
Sunderland
Rob.
club historian, joining us on BBC Radio Newcastle. The Sunderland team is unchanged. The Preston team, Freddie Woodman, who was the former Newcastle keeper in goal, Alvaro Fernandez, Liam Lindsay, Liam Delap, Ali McCann, Jordan Storey, Troy Parrott, Andrew Hughes, Ryan Ledson, Tom Cannon and Brad Potts. The changes are Liam Lindsay comes in for Patrick Bauer in the heart of defence, and then Liam Delap comes in for Josh Onumar, and Daniel Johnson replaced by Ali McCann in central midfield for Preston North End. The Sunderland bench is Bass, Barr, Taylor, Pritchard, Liaggi, Michu and Anderson, and the Preston bench is Cornell, Bauer, Onumar, Woodburn, Slater, Lee and Mawene. So that's the two teams this afternoon. As I say, it's a pleasant afternoon. It's dry now, it's been wet this morning. The Sunderland have just got to play their game, haven't they? I mean, this
just go and play a normal game. Just enjoy playing away from home. Yeah.
We'll keep you updated shortly too with what's happened in League 2 this afternoon, because those games kicked off at 12:30. It'll be pretty much the teams in the playoffs will be the teams that compete in the playoffs because of goal difference. Largely looking at Carlisle, who are 7th They were losing 1-0 to Sutton. It's 1-1, so they're pretty assured of a place, even if they'd lost, because of the goal difference compared to Mansfield in 8th. And so that is something that will be rounded up shortly with Dom. Just to remind you, before 3, we'll hear from Tony Mowbray, and we will also look back at well, it was a brilliant hour's programming, well, more than an hour and a half, in fact, on Total Sport on Thursday night, when we look back at the 1973 FA Cup final and the run to the final. Mickey Horswell was in the studio, Rob Mason, who we just heard from, was in the studio, fan Pete Sixsmith, one of the fans forum members, was in the studio. He was at Wembley, and Simon Pride, and they chewed over the cup run and the cup final, and we'll bring you the highlights of that particular programme before 3 this afternoon as well. So that's something to look forward to before kick-off this afternoon. So Sunderland unchanged ahead of a game they have to win this afternoon, and of course implications for them from the games at the Den and the Riverside. And to get a view from
thank you for the 9 thumbs up so far. Thank you very much.
We can now join in the BBC Radio Newcastle studio to round it all up, Dom James,
Nick Barnes, Gary Bennett, thank you very much for now. We'll head back to Deepdale to continue build up to Preston Sunderland shortly. A reminder then on how to get in touch this afternoon. Text us 81333. WhatsApp 08000 321 333. Start your messages with the letters BBC. And you can call us after 5 o'clock for the phone as well. 0800 234 6565. 0800 234 6565. The Black Cats' mission today then, a fairly straightforward one. Must win to stand any chance of a playoff place.
9 likes already.
From elsewhere. Let's run you through the league table first, though, shall we? In 4th place in the Championship table is Middlesbrough. They take on Coventry, who are 5th, on 5th on 69 points. In 6th is Millwall on 68 points. Sunderland in 7th on 66 points. West Brom in 8th on 66 points, but 3 goals less goal difference. And then Blackburn in 9th on 66 points as well, but minus 3 goal difference there. So 2 games that affect where Sunderland could finish up today. Middlesbrough against Coventry, and Simon Pride is there for us at the Riverside. And Simon, Sunderland hoping from a favour from one of their close rivals today.
Yes, indeed, Dom. 3 words that you wouldn't normally expect to hear here on BBC Radio Newcastle. Up the borough, because Sunderland could do with Middlesbrough beating Coventry City here this afternoon, and that would mean, coupled with a Sunderland victory, they wouldn't even need to worry about what's happening at Millwall. That would be enough to put Sunderland above Coventry in the league table. I know that Coventry currently have a better goal difference, but if Coventry lose here and Sunderland win, and then even if those margins are a solitary goal, Sunderland would still have the edge on goals scored. I know I'm probably making things sound more complex than they need to, but if Sunderland win and Coventry lose here today, that will be enough, and we don't even have to worry about Colin at Millwall, and we'll hear from him shortly, I know. So, Middlesbrough, a lot of people wondering, bearing in mind they know where they're going to finish. You've already mentioned that they are in 4th place in the Championship table. That is where they will stay as well. They can't catch Luton, they can't drop any further either. They know where they're going to finish. So we were wondering what their manager Michael Carrick would do team-wise this afternoon. And it's good news from a Sunderland perspective in that he is fielding a strong team. 3 changes to the team that lost at Rotherham last time out. And so that means that Tommy Smith comes in for the suspended Dyke Steele. Ryan Giles comes in and Alex Mowat as well. But it's a strong side, and Borough have been fantastic this season since they changed managers back in October and Carrick came in. They've got Chubo Akpom getting the goals. He's going to be the top scorer in the Championship this season. He's miles clear of everybody else. So Borough feeling a strong side tonight. They'll want to, this afternoon, they want to go into the playoffs with a bit of momentum. From their point of view, Coventry, well, they know they need something today to be sure of their playoff position. So a draw would be enough for them in their minds to know that no one could catch them. They couldn't be overhauled in terms of finishing in that top 6. They are, perhaps unsurprisingly, unchanged, fielding their strongest team available. They are unbeaten in their last 6. They have up front the second top scorer in the division. So we've got the two top scorers that we'll be able to watch at the Riverside this afternoon, and Gyökeres, who has caused Sunderland problems earlier this season, is their main man. He plays this afternoon. As I say, they are unchanged. Another familiar face in the Coventry lineup is Callum Doyle, who was of course on loan at Sunderland, the centre half, and he's now at Coventry City. So Mark Robb inside, yes, they know what they have to do. I'm sure that they will have half an eye on what's going on at Preston and what's going on at Millwall as well, Dom. But yes, from a Sunderland point of view, all we need is Middlesbrough just to do us a bit of a favour this afternoon.
Simon, thank you very much indeed for now. To London now, where Colin White is at the Den for Millwall versus Blackburn. And Tony Mowbray's former side could do Sunderland a favour today, Colin.
Yeah, they could indeed. This is the only game in the entire division where both teams have got something to play for. I know Simon said earlier about Middlesbrough wanting to take momentum in, but automatic promotion is done, relegation is done, it is just the playoffs, and this is the only game between two sides who could still make it. Millwall know that if they win, they're in the playoffs. It's as simple as that. If they draw, they need some help from others around them. If they lose, they miss out. So they're going all out for the win. Blackburn know that they have to win. Even if they win, they need help from others as well. So both teams absolutely doing everything for the victory this afternoon. But as far as Sunderland are concerned, we are cheering on Blackburn. We'll come back to Blackburn and their squad and their team in just a moment. The home side is Millwall. Two former Sunderland players plying their trade here now in George Honeyman and Duncan Watmore. Honeyman is injured, but Duncan Watmore starts on the right-hand side of a front four, really, that includes two players in Tom Bradshaw and Zion Fleming, who have scored 32 of Millwall's 51 goals in all competitions this season between them. Not on the best run of form, to be perfectly honest. Millwall, they relegated Blackpool actually by beating them last weekend, but that was just the second win in 8 games. They've made a couple of changes today, and Ollie Burke comes back into that front four that I've just talked about. From a Blackburn point of view, no former Sunderland players, one former player though in their starting 11. The goalkeeper Ainsley Pears, formerly of Middlesbrough and had a spell at Darlington as well. He starts between the sticks for Blackburn, but Blackburn's manager is a former Newcastle United striker, Jon Dahl Tomasson. So up the borough was an unexpected phrase. Come on, the former Newcastle United striker is an unusual phrase from a Sunderland perspective. But they are looking for some help from him this afternoon. That said, it's a Blackburn side that haven't won any of their last 9 matches. They go into the final day of the season in dreadful form. They'd won 6 out of 7 before that, but they've stuttered at just the wrong time. It is going to be fascinating. I think this is going to be really nervy. I think the whole afternoon's going to be nervy, you know, as far as Sunderland fans are concerned. But certainly here at the Den, it is going to be nervy because both sides know that they have to win, and anything less than that, it all gets a bit convoluted. I'm looking forward to this, and Dom, I think this is going to be a very busy afternoon indeed.
It certainly will. Colin White, thank you very much for now. So the best case scenario for Sunderland: Middlesbrough beat Coventry, or Blackburn beat Millwall. And Sunderland need to win though. Other game that could have potentially West Brom are playing Swansea, but if Sunderland are to win, they need to score by 5 or more goals if Sunderland were to win. So a goal swing that is very, very unlikely. Let's run you through some of the other Championship fixtures today. Then Birmingham against Sheffield United, Burnley against Cardiff, Huddersfield against Reading, Luton versus Hull, Norwich versus Blackpool, Queen's Park Rangers host Bristol City, Watford are at home to Stoke, and the only other game in the Premier League is Wigan versus Rotherham. A few other things to tell you about today there in the Premier League. At 3 o'clock, it's Fulham versus Leicester. At 5:30, Brighton take on Everton, and the 8 o'clock kickoff in the Premier League today is Nottingham Forest versus Southampton. Yesterday, Newcastle lost 2-0 at home to Arsenal. Here's the Magpies head coach Eddie Howe.
You know, I thought there a lot of good bits in our performance. I thought we opened them up, we created chances, we just didn't take them, and it just seemed one of those days we couldn't score right from the first minute with Jacobs' chance. It was a post. Could have been a very different afternoon. You know, the quality of the players that we have, that Arsenal have, it's always going to be decided on 1 or 2 moments. Those 1 or 2 moments today went against us. In previous weeks we've been on top of those, and the pleasing thing is the chances were there. The disappointing thing today, we weren't clinical enough. And then I just felt probably in that first half especially we didn't defend well enough. it's been the hallmark of our season really this year, how we've defended for long spells, but we're a little bit loose today, and we're indebted to Nick, who made some great saves in the game.
What is it?
If you had the full interview is available on BBC Sounds. A quick mention to the Newcastle women, who have secured promotion to the Northern Premier League Division. That's the 4th year of the women's football after winning the Northern Division 1 title yesterday. The Magpies beat Barnsley 2-0, the 3rd division, of women's football. It's the final day in the League 2 of the League 2 season. Let's quickly run through some of the results then, and most of them have finished. A couple of still playing, but it's finished Barrow 0, Stevenage 1, Bradford 1, Leyton Orient 1, Colchester United 0, Mansfield 2, Grimsby 1, AFC Wimbledon 0, Harrogate 1, Rochdale 1, Newport County 2, Crewe Alexandra 2, Salford City 0, Gillingham 1, Stockport County 1, Hartlepool United 1, Sutton United 1, Carlisle United 1, Swindon Town 2, Crawley Town 1, Tranmere Rovers 0, Northampton Town 1, and still playing between Walsall and Doncaster, but Walsall winning that one 2-1 there. So league table still to be decided with a few games still to play. But here on BBC Radio Newcastle, it's time to head back to Deepdale then to continue build up to Preston versus Sunderland in the company of Nick Barnes and Gary Bennett.
Check me out, Steph. Look at me, I'm so 40. What do you do now you're 40? Well, I go to the Lake District and I climb Wainwrights.
Matt Bailey at breakfast.
These mountains are called the Wainwrights because some chap called Wainwright decided he liked them and he wrote a book and he said go and climb them. Anyway, so I wanted to know the things that would be named after your family. Paula's been on. Her family name is Johnson. She's got a collection of Johnsons. What do you think a collection of Johnsons could be, Steph? Let's not go there. A collection of Johnsons, apparently railway station photos. That's what they collect. They've got a collection of railway station photos.
The sound of the North East at breakfast. BBC Radio Newcastle, making a difference in the North East. The sound of Sunderland.
Richardson's free kick. Oh, yes! Richardson! Just torpedo pass given. And Sunderland take the lead. Pritchard still going in the edge of the penalty area. Loesch. Yes! A goal! Get in! The red and white army stand, applaud.
Kicks off here.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
The Bill Shankly stand slowly filling up a lot away to our left with Sunderland fans, Preston fans driven
from where we thought we would be at the start of the season, and it's great that we are in this position going into a final day with the setbacks we've had as well, Nick. You know, that has to be mentioned.
Now, of course, we want to see more of Ahmad, and if we're going to do that, we want to see Sunderland get into the playoffs. Yeah. From Preston's point of view, this is the last game for 3 on-loan players: Liam Delap, Troy Parrott and Tom Cannon. Those 3 will want to make an impression today.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was talking about as well. You know, there's so many scenarios that are going on this pitch today and in those dressing rooms that fans sometimes don't think about. You know, players' careers, players' contracts in the summer, you know, how they're perceived back at their parent clubs. The players who are Preston players, you know, some of them might be coming to the end of the time, and as you say, if the manager's had a bit of a bit of a strop last week, you know, that might affect what happens planning in the summer as well. So, you know, you as a player, you always have to be ready because your careers are short, but also your contracts are short, and there's so many down. I think people say this. I don't like the phrase when people say, "Oh, the teams are on the beach," because I think it's most players have a bit more feeling than that about games of this calibre at the end of a season.
Indeed. So kick-off at 3. We'll hear from Tony Mowbray before then. But on Friday, of course, it was the 50th anniversary of Sunderland's FA Cup win over Leeds United. And on Thursday night on BBC Radio Newcastle, we had a 1973 special in the studio with Simon Price. And we will listen back to the highlights of that now, were Mickey Horswell, a member of that 1973 team, Rob Mason, Sunderland's club historian, and our fans forum member who was at Wembley in 1973, Pete Sixsmith.
everything I've done in my life has been because of 73, because of that one game, you know.
I'm going to bring in somebody now who is a lifelong Sunderland fan, and her name is Margaret Dixon. What was it like in Sunderland in the build-up to the final?
Oh, it was full of excitement. The whole city was decorated.
We went down on the train on the Friday night. Sunderland station was absolute chaos. Train pulled in, you got on it. There was a bloke on our carriage, the old-style luggage racks that used to come right down with the netting, and he just got into that and slept all the way down to London.
And then we got the coach across to Wembley, and it was all Sunderland. We never saw a Leeds supporter. It was just all Sunderland. And
how are the lads? Hello, Irvin. How are you doing?
The best trip that I've ever been on.
How many Sunderland fans in the ground, Rob?
Well, each club were supposed to have about 20,000 tickets, but all of the tickets that went to various little clubs across the country, or clubs of any size across the country, where each club got a few, I think most of them ended up in Sunderland supporters' hands.
The sound is absolutely deafening, enough to stir even the most experienced. Mick Horswell, only 20.
What was that moment like, Mick?
It's hard to explain, to be honest with you, because we got to the opening at the top. I was just behind Richie, and I couldn't hear Richie speak. He was talking to me, and I couldn't hear him. It was just so unbelievable, the noise and everything. And we were so excited. We just wanted to get out there.
Dennis Stewart, who played that day as well. You just seemed to relish every moment out there.
I think it was more excitement that we were, because it was the first time all of us had been anywhere near the high level of success that we got on that particular day. So we were just enjoying the ride.
Well, on 32 minutes, this happened.
Hughes with the kick. Porterfield and Sunderland have done what they threatened to do.
Yeah. In Porterfield with his right foot as well. So
You'll have to get.
the only time he's ever used.
You'll have to get Sky on.
I saw in the footage, Mickey, you were pretty quick to join the celebrations. You looked the happiest of everybody, actually.
I was the happiest. Yeah. I was living my dream.
Because
can you not? Have you not got it on your telly, like?
Among the fans when that went in,
mayhem, absolute mayhem. And I think people were also pinching themselves, you know, because they probably couldn't believe it.
It was a special magic that the team had.
Talking about a bit of magic, yeah,
that brings us more Sky games next season.
To that save. It was the 70th minute when this happened.
Leeds are really pushing forward. Cherry, brilliant save, and Lorimer makes it 1-each. No, astonishing. Lorimer thought he'd scored. Most of the crowd did, but it wasn't it.
Northern King, however,
doesn't he just thought it was going. Everybody must. For a split second, you must have thought it was in, did you?
No, because you don't think of
it. So far, 9 votes in the poll. Have you been happy no matter what happens today? Yes, 89%. 11 have said no.
That was Monty. That was Monty's stock in trade. Brilliant reaction saves.
You know, split second, just for a split second, you thought, oh no.
Yeah, the heart
sinks. And then there was the twist, and then he knocked the ball away from.
Mick Jones was running.
Mick Jones was running in.
When this moment happened, then it was a massive relief to everybody and cue for mass celebration.
2 minutes of injury time gone. The referee looked at the watch, and Sunderland have won the cup from the second division.
Mickey, can you still remember your feelings at that moment?
Yes, I went down on 2 knees. It's hard to explain because when you're a little boy and you're playing in the street on your own with a tennis ball, like I did in Anfield playing, I used to watch the FA Cup and then I used to go out and I used to play the FA Cup on my own. And to be there and to win it, it's just so difficult to explain. When I was a kid, I used to always think, all I want to do was go up there the steps, get my medal, turn and have a look at all the people cheering you. And I can't remember going up and getting my medal, because it's so exciting and there's so much in your head going on. It's a weird feeling.
Yeah,
Dennis,
that's just
describe
finished.
your emotions and feelings, if you can, when the final whistle went.
It's just an unbelievable feeling because you go round and you're thinking, well, it's like a surreal moment in your life. You just think, what am I doing here? Is it real?
Yeah.
And then at the end of the lap of honour, you realise it is real.
Pete, were you still? Had you fainted by this stage? Were you still conscious? What was?
I was still conscious, yeah, and just gobsmacked, thinking it's amazing. But I suppose like Bob, I'd thought from the Manchester City game we had a chance. But Leeds, it was just Leeds, and they were such a professional, well-organised side. You're thinking, can we beat them? Can we beat them? And of course we did.
Margaret, welcome back again. What was it like? What was it like watching on TV then, and when the final whistle blew?
Oh, when the final whistle went, it was just fantastic. The whole house just jumped up, cheering and cheering.
Bobby Kerr, the smallest captain surely ever to lay hands on this trophy. Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Kent. And no wonder he kissed it.
No, Northampton are promoted.
A moment to treasure.
Sheer joy, that's what it was. Sheer joy and happiness that somebody, that somebody has won the cup.
Total Sport.
Whenever Newcastle and Sunderland play at the same time, you'll find our black and white commentary on FM and our red and white commentary on DAB and Freeview, channel 719.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
A brief taster of the 1973 programme on Thursday night. If you want to hear the whole thing, it's available on BBC Sounds. So if you go to BBC Sounds, BBC Radio Newcastle, and the programme was on Thursday evening, just past May the 4th, from 6:30. Unchanged Sunderland this afternoon at Deepdale. 3 changes for Preston. Let's hear now from Sunderland's head coach, Tony Mowbray.
Tony driving up and down the A19 home and to here, do you ever reflect on, when time passes really quickly, that when you arrived here,
I think Coventry will get a result at Millwall.
Really, just to stay in the Championship, and here you are now vying with 3-4 teams for a place in the Premier League.
So when I arrived, you don't know the group. I know the names of the players, and I'd seen 1 or 2 of their games, but you don't know them until you work with them and sort of live with them on a daily basis, really. I think they seem to me to want to take in information, and so the information one coach gives to a team is slightly different from the information the next one or the previous one or the previous one. But I think I've enjoyed their mindset, really, of they're trying to take on information and play how we want to play. And I hope they've enjoyed it. I hope the supporters have enjoyed, because mainly my training is mainly in possession.
The team hasn't got anything to play for.
Play forward, run forward, get turned, look forward,
Sheffield, Wednesday,
link with each other. Where's the space?
They had nothing to play for.
Where other coaches can be, how you stop them. Make sure you fill that hole. Make sure you fill this hole. So I do feel maybe the combination of the previous managers has probably helped, because I did feel when I arrived
nothing to play for.
They were pretty
good.
I don't
think that really makes a difference at all.
Pressing
I've seen that many results.
And out of possession and closing down. And, I think we've just added more thought on in possession with the ball. What are we going? What are we doing? And the combination of probably the past and the present is clicked with the group, I think.
So often you've talked about finding a way, and strangely you found a way to be involved possibly in the playoffs with a better goal difference than the teams around you and more goals scored than the teams around you, than with no strikers and defenders.
Well, I'm totally chilled out no matter what happens. If we win, if we lose, if we draw, if we make the playoffs, if we don't make the playoffs.
I don't take pride in it. The
I'm
staff
just not going
should
to be disappointed
either
either way.
I think
because
the players should take pride in it, because they have to take
I mean, we could have easily been, having to win this game to stay up.
Really
do you know what I mean? We're not. I mean, to say that we could be 10 to the playoffs,
it's just superb. The analysts and the hours and the work that they do and the preparation. As coaches, generally, we just come in and see what they've prepared for us, and yet one of the analysts is working on the game after the next game for 4 or 5 days, working till all hours in the morning, making sure that it's ready, and so that when the one game finishes, I go in next morning. If we're not going to debrief because we've won and I feel it's enough, we don't need anything from that game, we're straight on to the next one.
Not going to be an easy game today, man.
And so the guy who's just done the team we've just beaten, he starts on the team 6, 7, 8 days away, and the analysts, these people are amazing at football clubs, and I'm very conscious sitting here. I don't need to be proud. I'm proud of the people who work for the football club and make the whole thing work, really. The coaches who sit in the office from 7:45 every morning until the training session starts at 10:30, preparing, planning, organising, looking, watching. I've told you about the set plays, the thought and the timing and the number of times they watch them to try and get it right. Particularly difficult. Obviously, we lost 2 goals at the weekend.
I like when Sunderland play at Preston because they've got to stand Preston, which is ideal.
When you're 5'7", 5'8", 9 or 10, and you're playing against 6'4", 6'5", it's really difficult. You aren't going to win many headers. Your job is to try and get under his feet and stop him running and and yet. So we lost a couple of goals. I think we've been amazing at that aspect, but I see the work behind the scenes that goes on it really, and so yeah. What I'm trying to say is, I don't.
Whatever it is, I've changed my channel name. It's called the Mackham Cabin.
I feel the pride of the workload of the people who work at this football club and care. The chefs, it's amazing. We win a football match on a Saturday. The kitchen
I'll probably change my name on Discord.
It's unbelievable how much people care about the team functioning and winning. And so it makes you want to work hard and make people proud, really. And that's how it filters and it drives, and that comes from the supporters to the people, because the people who work here are supporters, and that's how you feel it, really. And I'm just the guy who sits here and talks to you about everybody else's work. My work on a match day is really to keep them going, keep pushing them, keep striving to them, and encouraging them to be brave and play.
Luke O'Neill has been talking this week about his journey, if you like, through arriving from Wickham to here and now. He said when he arrived as a player, you arrive and you want to better yourself as a player, but once you're here, you realise that actually what you want to do is better the football club.
Yep.
I mean, do you feel like that as a coach? Is that a bit too far removed from your role and what you do?
3-0 Sunderland today.
I try and better every football club I've ever been to. I think you hear it. It's a very common theme, but the job is to leave the football club. Because I will leave the football club
but not
at
enough
some
for the
stage.
playoffs. I don't think
to leave
the
it
gods
in a
will be
better
with us
place than you found it, in my mind, and leave it with better players. Leave it with a coaching identity. Leave it with good human beings filling the positions of the analysts department, of the medical department, of the coaching department, the people in the kitchen, trying to leave the whole place where the next guy comes in and goes, wow, I don't have to do anything. I keep listening every morning as I'm driving in, probably because tonight Man United are playing Brighton, but De Zerbi goes into Brighton and everybody's saying, oh, he walked into this amazing club with this amazing players and amazing structure, and wow, how easy must that be? It's like just dropped in bush and they're just going. Well, your idea as a football coach is to leave the football club in a position where there's lots of good players all over. Everywhere you turn, there's a good player in all positions, and the staff are amazing, and everybody cares about the team. But generally, you leave because the results haven't been good enough. And yet, if you've built the infrastructure and the culture of the football club, people are still with you even through the bad times, really. I think, and I know, sitting here today, we're going to have spells of bad times where the questioning is going to be more difficult. We can't win. We haven't scored in so many games. We've lost the last 4 on the road, away from home. What are you going to do? Well, it's not all about me, is what I'm saying. It's the culture of the club. It's the kitchen staying positive, not turning away when you come in the morning for your breakfast because they don't want to talk to you because you've just got beat 3-0 away from home. They want to say, oh, morning, Gaffer, listen, we'll get it right on Tuesday. The lads are working really hard for you. You need everybody going in the right direction. And I personally feel every club I've been to, I've left it in a better place than when I came, really. And that's not because I'm a great coach, it's because I feel I've got human qualities that can gel people together, footballers and staff and people. I hope they think, you know what, the gaffer ain't a bad guy, he's a good guy, and they want to fight for me, they want to work hard. I call it emotional intelligence, really, how you connect people together. And yet if I was Pep Guardiola, I wouldn't have been managing the Championship all my career. I'd have been managing Man City by now, or Arsenal. Do you know what I'm saying?
I think it's a decent lineup.
There's some amazing, brilliant coaches out there, and yet when they lose and people start to criticise, they crumble and they fall to bits and they lose faith in their coaching ability. You have to have ingredients, and I think the world's great coaches have a bit of everything, and they excel at certain things, and yet they understand the other things that you need to have.
You haven't got an inner Sam then that's better than Pep and Klopp. But moving on from that, you were mindful of the threat Watford posed last weekend and played down everyone's expectations. Is it much the same with Preston? I mean, they're strong at home. They've had a good season. You know them well. I mean, you lived locally to them for many years in the same division.
Yeah. Listen, we have to be very respectful of Preston. I think
what is the lowest Sunderland can finish?
They were struggling to win at home. They've resolved that towards the end of the season. I think Preston's you know, if people know the history of football, Preston North End was one of the biggest clubs in the country for many, many, many years. You know, it's had some of the world's great players through the 50s or even the 30s to the 50s. You know, it was a massive, massive club. And, you know, there was a day where Blackpool versus Preston was the biggest game in the country. It's so Preston's a club full of history and a passionate support base. I think, you know, I read some comments from the manager.
It was just a shame that Neil Warnock just took over, because I mean, he transformed that side.
We'll see what comes.
But I do know is that every club
wants to finish the season strong at home and try and have a walk around with their kids and their families. And
yes, my darling.
I'm sure their appreciation to the supporters and vice versa. But so they'll be trying very hard to try and finish the season positively. We have to go there and try and get the job done for the needs that we've got.
Finally, a 1973 question, and everyone's gone. I mean, does it seem remarkable in some ways that, you know, as a boy, we all watched that final, and the longevity, really, the memory of Jimmy Montgomery's double save, how it's that you know, how something like that, one moment which was seconds in a game, can live so large for 50 years.
Yeah. It's football. In my household, my header at Wembley in 2000 is living very, very, very long. No, but that double save, listen, Jimmy's in the building today, actually. He was watching training today, so iconic moments, iconic moments. It's, you know, in this city, it'll live forever. I'm pretty sure. And for our young footballers, these are the messages I try to give. Make your own history, make your own. You know, can you score the goal at Wembley that takes us to the Premier League, and then, for whatever reason, you know, in 10 years' time we win the Premier League and we win the Champions League, but the moment that got us there was your goal at Wembley that got us over the line. They have to. There's an opportunity in every young footballer to try and do that, and that's why I like them to love the game. Really, I want them to be part of history. And sometimes when you're young, you don't understand that. It's they can't see the future. You know, the old adage again, another cliche from a football manager is your career's gone like that. You know, and my career's gone like that. I playing against Newcastle United, Kevin Keegan and Mickey Shannon up front on my debut. I didn't know I was going to play it the day before, and I was in the team. 33,000 St James's Park. We drew 1-1. It lives with me forever. You know, 1982 September. But it's gone whoosh. And so I say to these young players, you have to, every minute, every training session, you have to love it. You have to want to get wrapped up in it and play and be in a team that's successful. Because I still sit with, every time I have a day off, I still sit with Gary Pallister in the window in Yarmouth Street and have a coffee and talk about footy. He talks about what's going on at Old Trafford, and I'll tell him what I think's happening here. And and why are we mates? We're mates because we had success on a football field together, and that's why, really. And so these young lads can have mates for life if they're successful and they win. Because I've also been in teams where we weren't very good. We finished mid-table or struggled against relegation, and I don't keep in touch with any of them lads, really, or vice versa. Not because I didn't like them, but because you create an affinity with each other when you're successful.
I'm back.
And so if they want to do that, you know, we have to push hard, and them are the reasons why you want to have a great team and remember it in 30 years' time.
And when you walk out on Monday, you'll have to tell the young players who Tom Finney was.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I know.
Oh, God.
Nick Barnes and Gary Bennett, MBE.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Tony Mowbray, will we be talking to him again this week? We'll know at 5 o'clock. We'll obviously speak to him after the game. Atmosphere is building very, very nicely here. There are a lot of Sunderland fans actually sitting just in front of us in the main Tom Finney stand. The 6,000 in the Bill Shankly stand are making themselves heard. Let's get a taste of the atmosphere elsewhere at the Riverside for us this afternoon. Simon Pride.
Yeah, it's going to be a full house here at the Riverside, and we could do with Borough beating Coventry. If they do that and Sunderland wins, Sunderland will go above Coventry. I heard a Borough fan outside the ground say that he hoped Borough win this afternoon, as long as Sunderland don't. That rivalry still exists, of course, but if Borough can do Sunderland a favour, that would be much appreciated. They're building a strong side, 3 changes. In comes Smith and Giles and Mowat. Coventry are unchanged. They're unbeaten in their last 6. They've got a full contingent of fans away in the corner opposite me as well, and I'll keep you updated as to all developments here on this crucial afternoon.
And at the Den this afternoon, where Blackburn are at the South London club to take on Millwall. I'm distracted then because they've made a change, Preston, late on in their starting lineup. At the Den, Colin White.
I can just about hear you. It is deafening and a sold-out Den. The teams have just come out onto the pitch as well. I don't know if you're the same. We're going to have the national anthem played as well, which is why the teams have come out onto the pitch a little bit early. We want Middlesbrough to win at the Riverside. We do not want Millwall to win here, though. If Sunderland are victorious and Blackburn stop Millwall winning, that will be enough to see the Black Cats take a playoff place as well. Watford, but I mentioned earlier, this is the only game in the division where both teams have got something to play for. It is going to be a special occasion here, but hopefully we get the result that everybody at Deepdale wants as well. Simon will keep you posted from the Riverside. I will keep you posted from here if I can hear myself think. Barnsey.
I can quite sympathise. We can barely hear ourselves think here. I'll give you those changes for Preston in just a moment as the teams come out from the corner on the far side. Sunderland, their red tracksuit tops and light blue, and Preston in their white shirts and dark navy blue shorts and white socks, led by referee all in back, Bobby Madley. But the Sunderland fans are bouncing in the Alan Kelly stand, the Preston fans waving their flags as the players come towards this main stand, although the dugouts are on the far side. Preston have made, if I heard the lad correctly, because the noise here was such that I couldn't really hear, I think Patrick Bauer has replaced Andrew Hughes in the back 3 for Preston. So it's Jordan Storey, Patrick Bauer and Liam Lindsay are the 3 centre-backs for Preston this afternoon. Andrew Hughes must have picked up a knock in the warm-up, and as a Scholar has replaced Bauer on the bench as the team's lined up. Down below us here, Patterson, who will be wearing yellow this afternoon, and the national anthem.
Oh, shame. Oh, I hope I don't get done with copyright for the bloody national anthem now.
Gusto as the players peel away. Sunderland, Patterson in goal, Gooch, Hume, O'Nien and Sirkin, Neil, Ekwa, Roberts, Ahmad, Clark and Gelhart, and Preston North End, Woodman in goal, Storey, Bauer and Lindsay, Ledson, Potts, Delap, McCann, Fernandez, who's on loan from Manchester United, no stranger to Ahmad, Barrett on loan from Tottenham, and Cannon on loan from Everton. Worth mentioning Liam Delap, of course, on loan from Manchester City, the son of the former Sunderland Carlisle United midfielder Rory Delap. Terrific atmosphere here.
Won't be an easy game today, this. I mean, Preston are decent side.
Phil Shankly stand entirely full of Sunderland fans. And as I say, a lot sitting in front of us here.
That's the trouble about our season, isn't it?
Well oiled, I think.
Not worth competing.
The pitch looks good, the afternoon is dry, grey skies, very mild. Tommy Madley just out in the centre of the coin toss, and Lyndon Gooch jogs back to his position at right back. Sunderland defending the Bill Shankly end, the Sunderland end in his first half. Gelhardt is going to kick off for Sunderland this afternoon. Preston,
and we're off.
As I say, in their white shirts, dark navy shorts and blue and white hoops on their socks. Sunderland all in light blue. Ryan Lowe is serving a touchline ban, was serving a three-match
I'm a Preston
ban,
manager
set up a touchline ban. So he's up on the gantry on the far side here at Deepdale. As we get underway, Sunderland having to win and then rely on results elsewhere as the ball goes out for a throw to Preston. Fernandez, long-haired Fernandez, the Spaniard will take this. They've lost it. Roberts has won it. Ahmad trying to dig it out through the feet of Lindsay. Comes back onto the touchline. Ahmad keeps it in, tucks it inside to Gooch, and then it's cleared forwards by Nedson. Down the left of the penalty area. Early cross taken by Patterson. Cannon's cross.
Tell you what, Radio Newcastle's miles behind Skylight.
Of the ether by Patterson.
Let's say that's a minute and a half.
And he bowls it out to Gooch on the right-hand side here.
I'm on a minute and 30.
Into Hume at the edge of the penalty area.
That's mad, isn't it?
Inside to Patterson, and he's driven it up to Gelhardt on halfway, who lays it back off to Sirkin. Out to Clark, wide on the left. Inside to Ekwa. Tried to close him down, Preston, but the ball played through to Gelhardt. Back into the centre circle to Neil, and out to Gooch on this right-hand side, and Gooch out to
Ahmad, says Johnny
on the right, cutting in, trying to shake off his Manchester United teammate Fernandez. Playing it back out now to Roberts, back inside to Ahmad, out to the wing again to Gooch, who's shaking off Lindsay. Low ball into the penalty area, but nobody there to pick it up. It's cleared to Ahmad, comes back out to Neil, who just taps it to Ahmad, and Ahmad, trying to get away, is tackled by, in the end, Parrott. Out to the left wing, Fernandez, blocked by Ahmad, comes back down here, and Lindsay plays it to the German. Patrick Bauer, signed from Charlton a couple of years ago, back here to the edge of the penalty area. And it's Andrew Hughes actually on the right-hand side.
So fill the whole stand. It's an ideal stand for big following for away fans, because they just fill the whole bit.
In the starting lineup rather than Hughes. Judging by that back three, and here playing it
certainly
forward,
need moves from the top tier, definitely.
Nedson. Chasing it is Cannon, it breaks for him, but quickly out is Patterson after a slip by Hume, and he gets the ball up into the centre circle. Is it? No, it is Story, isn't it?
Story's
I
out.
was right.
Is it? No, Jordan Story's playing.
He's playing. No, it was Hughes. I was right in the first place. It's Andrew Hughes as the player.
What we don't want is to go goal down, because other things. I was going to point today, it'd be fine. We can't say that today.
It to Fernandez.
Got to be a win.
Down from Parrott to Fernandez. Now in midfield, Potts, Brad Potts. Remember him at Barnsley. He was talked up then as being a player for the future. In the end, it probably didn't develop as well as he probably would have hoped. But,
it's a great start from Preston.
Here Potts through to Fernandez in the penalty area, trying to find Cannon. Somehow Sunderland have got the ball away. It's played in from the right wing, headed out again by Hume.
Got to be a yellow card
on Clark.
Got to be yellow, isn't it?
Pulled down on the touchline on the far
Jordan
side.
Story, isn't it?
It's a yellow card for Story, yeah.
You know what they need to do now? Give Jack Clark the ball.
And run at him.
I mean, that's so stupid from a Preston fan.
Early card then for Story in the 4th minute. Free kick to Sunderland. Wide on the left in front of the Sunderland dugout. It'll be taken by Sirkin.
I don't think it matters for friendlies, does it?
To O'Nien. And O'Nien in the middle of his own half here. 0-0 in these early stages in the 5th minute. Through to Ekwa, back to O'Nien. And O'Nien looking up, trying to take this on up towards the halfway line into the centre circle. Ahmad is there, lays it off to Sirkin, trying to get it through to Gelhardt. It's blocked and won back by Preston, and Bauer back to the goalkeeper, Freddie Woodman, the former Newcastle keeper, all in green, and he plays it out to Fernandez, heading it on down the left wing here, looking for Tom Cannon.
I think the Sunderland fans will enjoy it no matter what happens to their down there. What the lads have
started here in January from Everton, and it's Fernandez who'll take the throw just inside the Sunderland half on the left-hand side. Gets the ball back from McCann, Ali McCann, the Northern Ireland international, out to Potts into the penalty area here to Parrott, and then back out to McCann. McCann's shot takes a deflection, and Patterson was left leaden-footed.
He didn't see that at all, did he? He just thought, I'm standing here, I'm not moving from my ball area.
Could have gone anywhere.
Very, very scrappy clearance there, like, but that was a deflection that could have went in.
On this left-hand side.
So,
set piece, we've got to make sure we concentrate. The first set piece, we know what happened last weekend.
Gary Bennett's just saying set piece, which is where we weak.
The penalty area, Preston. Here's the corner from the right, hanging in the air. Bauer gets
once
his
again,
head on it, towards the far post, and it's dropped to Liam Delap. He couldn't really get his head round it, and it's hooked away.
Well, so far, you think
back up to Fernandez on halfway.
First season of Championship,
McCann lays off to Potts again on the wing.
So far, you think it was Preston that was playing for the playoff players. They're looking likely to score.
And Ekwa clears. Up to Ahmad. He's lost it though. Back it comes into the penalty area, and Hume heads it away for a throw. Down on this left-hand side, a few feet from the corner on the left for Preston.
Just going back to that set piece, Nick. Patterson was nowhere near.
Yep.
So 0-0. I gather there's been a goal at the Den. Colin White.
There has indeed, and of all the men to score it, it is Duncan Watmore.
Duncan Watmore scores for Millwall.
After 7.5
Duncan
minutes.
Watmore.
Zion Fleming with the long throw from the left-hand side.
Yeah.
It bounced a couple of times inside the penalty area. They had a couple of shots on goal, Millwall, that they couldn't get on target. But the third one just bounced really nicely in front of Duncan Watmore. It smashed off the underside of the bar. Blackburn cleared it. There was a second where we all had to wait to see whether referee Craig Parsons' watch beeped. It did, and then the Den erupted. Long way to go.
So what happens if we win in Millwall?
Millwall so far, but after 7 minutes, it's Millwall 1, Blackburn 0.
Not good news for Sunderland. It's 0-0 still here at Deepdale, but Millwall scoring early. Not the news really that Sunderland wanted to hear, but as Colin says, long way to go.
Yeah, because even a draw's good enough for Coventry.
Also is involving Coventry at Middlesbrough, where it's still 0-0. Here's Fernandez on the left in his own half for Preston North End, back to Lindsay, into the middle to Bauer, and he will play it across to Story on the far side.
If we get in the playoffs, it's an extra cake to eat and be happy about.
Preston
not what more. Hopefully, Coventry losing. Yeah, I know, but we've got to still win.
By a goal to nil.
Look, the pendulum's very much against us today with odds. We've practically got 3-1 against us of things to go our way. We've got to win and look to the results. So let's just not get carried away and
back into the centre.
We have to expect Sunderland to still be in the Championship next season.
As Potts tried to get through the middle on the surface, and then Gelhardt's foul. A strong challenge by Bauer in the centre circle, and a free kick to Sunderland. They're not really getting into the Preston half, are they?
No, as I said, it'll take time for it to settle down.
Here's Gooch wide from Ekwa on halfway, back to
Blackburn's been terrible the last couple of months.
Gooch again on the right here, and Gooch on the halfway line plays it back to Hume. And we've got another goal at Millwall, Colin White.
Yeah, well, I thought we had another goal, and everybody inside the den thought we had another goal. A brilliant free kick from Zion Fleming from about 23 yards out, hit the inside of the left-hand post, and it was tapped home from inside the 6-yard box. I don't know by whom, because everybody then piled on top of them. And then the offside flag went up on the far side. There was a real delay. The assistant referee was thinking about it.
I think Millwall are going to go to town on Blackburn.
But as it stands, Millwall 1-0.
Sunderland in the penalty area, swung it across the face of goal by Clark on the left.
We've got to win ours.
Behind for a goal kick. So Sunderland's first real opportunity of the game.
Yep. If you can hit the thumbs up button and give us a subscribe if you can. Thank you very much.
0-0 still here then, 1-0 still to Millwall, 0-0 at Middlesbrough. The ball played up to Delap. Delap forced out to the far side, a challenge by O'Nien, but the ball is still in play. Delap to the corner flag to put the ball in the box and straight in the hands of Anthony Patterson.
Yeah, we just got to be wary of Delap as well. You know, he played as an out-and-out striker against us when he's on loan at Stoke City.
Then when Rory Delap was basically sacked at Stoke, Man City recalled Liam Delap, and he's now out here at Preston on loan. The ball played up into the centre, and trying to get into the penalty area down the left is Delap. Tried to find Fernandez.
Well, on my poll, you've been happy no matter what happens today. 34 votes so far, 79% say yes, 21% say no.
On BBC Radio
what they're not happy about.
Alvaro Fernandez, 20 years old, signed from Real Madrid by Manchester
I think the
United.
home form has disappointed me. That's about the only thing this season.
To Liam Lindsay, now Ali McCann on the left, at the corner of the Sunderland penalty area. Put back in the cross by Lindsay, looking for Potts, who takes it on the goal line and knocks it behind under the shadow of Jack Clark, and it's a goal kick to Sunderland.
I think already you've seen every opportunity to get Nick is that they're putting that ball in the box.
There's a picture of a fellow called Ryan Rowe standing at the top of the stands at the minute.
There's no height.
I think since he's been out of a job all these months, he's been in the stands. I think
at
the top of the league.
Played on to Clark by Sirkin, back inside to Dan Neal. Neal looking for Ahmad in the centre circle. Ahmad plays it to
West Brom never on
Gooch
points from
on
us,
the
but
right-hand
3
side.
goals behind.
Gooch looking to cut inside, tackled by McCann, and now Parrott plays it back into Ledson, who lifts one high, looking for Cannon, and out comes Patterson. The ball bounced in front of him, invitingly too for Cannon, but Patterson beat him to it.
He's got to try to get Robertson to the game. Give him the ball.
He's not getting the ball, is he, at all? Gelhart's got it now in the middle. Now Ahmad. Ahmad out to Roberts. Roberts now running at Fernandez across the back of the penalty area. He's challenged by McCann. The ball is slightly loose. A lunge at him by Ledson. The ball comes back out to Neal, and he plays it wide again to Gooch. Gooch with Ahmad. He leaves it for Ahmad. Ahmad now inside to Roberts. And back to Ahmad.
So at this current moment, if we score and take the lead, we're still out the playoffs. Is that right?
Just outside the D.
In a good position.
Good position. Free kick to Sunderland.
That's a little bit better. Get the ball to Roberts. Get that combination working between Roberts and Ahmad. I think it's a good one this for Ahmad as well.
Ahmad loved it, and I think Roberts will fancy it as well, to be honest.
You know, we always say you've got to hit the target. You've got to work the goalkeeper.
Bobby Madley just applying the spray. He'll march the Preston wall back a couple of yards.
West Brom are currently above Sunderland, yeah? We're now to 8th.
Indeed, he puts the spray at least a yard behind where Preston had
Norwich
formed
on the beach, aren't they?
It's left for Roberts, this free kick.
Come on. Hit the target.
Roberts then. Only a couple of yards step up. With his left, it took a deflection off the wall for a corner.
A good deflection as well.
We need Coventry lose and us to win.
Off the head of one of the defenders in the wall. Roberts will take the corner here on the right. Sunderland's first corner of the game. They line up behind the penalty spot, but Gelhart's in the 6-yard box as well, and it's tapped here towards Gelhart, and it's gone behind for another corner. He ran onto it, defender behind him just nudged it out.
Come on, lads, we're only 16 minutes into the game and we're writing it off.
Successive Sunderland corner. West Bromwich Albion 1, Swansea 0, but they need a massive swing in terms of goals, West Bromwich Albion. Here, the corner drops at the back of the 6-yard box. Ali McCann clears it. It's a throw for Sunderland down the right. Of course, West Bromwich Albion hoping, working on the premise that Sunderland don't win today, so they've got to go for it. But they are outsiders for a playoff place.
What's Millwall's form in the last month or so, last couple of months? Have they done well the last few games?
1-0 to Millwall.
Millwall, have they done well the last couple of months form-wise?
Lindsay, he clears it for another Sunderland throw, some 20 yards from the corner on the right-hand side. BBC Radio Newcastle.
It's not spectacular, is it?
46th game of the season in the Championship, all coming to a head. Here's Gooch inside to Ahmad. It's played out for a throw again, and Ahmad's down. Caught by Lindsay. Referee is coming across, and Ahmad's rolled on his back, waved his hand around a few times, and the referee just stands over him. Ahmad crouched now on his knees. Ekwa's come to see how he is, and he's now crouching and just pulling himself up. Ahmad stamping his foot a couple of times as orange, as dazzling.
I think we'll see a sending off for Preston.
Boots. And Gooch will take this throw on the right hand side. It drops to Roberts, back to Gooch. Gooch on the right, back inside to Roberts. He's tackled by McCann. Gooch
is trying to aim for the
high ball.
I think he's trying to aim for the freaking Elon Musk's Starship X, isn't he, with that cross?
To Preston North End, who've weathered that little storm from Sunderland.
Nervy start.
Freddie Woodman signed in the summer from Newcastle. Out it's played to the right wing, up to Delap. Delap trying to get it forwards to Parrott. But it's knocked out for a throw to Sunderland in front of the dugouts on halfway. Sirkin to Neil. Back out to Sirkin, back again to O'Nien.
Do you reckon we'll win this game? We've got every chance. We are really, really good side away from home this season.
In front of that massive bank of red and white behind Patterson's back. Neil. Oh, he's given the ball away, and Ledson's trying to get it forward, so O'Nien has to get it away to Gelhardt over the halfway line, looking for the run of Roberts on the shoulder of Lindsay. Lindsay cut across the face of him and knocks it out for a throw to Sunderland on the left.
If we get to Wembley and we win it, I'm going to put some pantyhose over my head. I'm going to break into Ant's house and pick and pinch his wig.
And then across to Gooch here on the right hand side. Wide to Ahmad, back to Gooch inside the Preston half. Now to Ahmad again. Ahmad trying to get away from Fernandez, plays it back here to Hume. Hume to Ekwa. And Ekwa,
precious off them, you see, they didn't expect to win it.
Gooch
the playoffs is very, very mental.
Back.
It's all about mental strength. Playoffs.
Ahmad short, a couple of yards in front of him to Roberts, and Roberts on the right is trying to find Gooch, and Gooch has to try and get past Fernandez again, and plays it back to Roberts behind him on the touchline. Roberts wide on the right, then to Hume just inside the Sunderland half. Neil back to Hume.
Metropolitan Police 2, Hedge Fund Wanderers 1
in the centre circle.
One of the lower leagues, Northern Division.
Wide on the left, Potts in front of him, and Clark cuts inside, laid off then to Sirkin on the left. His cross headed spectacularly behind by Ledson. Another Sunderland corner.
Good build-up play by Sunderland.
Come on, 57 watching the channel. All you've got to do is just click the thumbs up.
18-minute mark. 0-0 still at Deepdale, 1-0 at the Den to Millwall, 0-0 at the Riverside. Results or score lines that were, if they to stay that way, would mean that Sunderland would miss out. Referee is having a word with Clark about the relative position of the ball, I think, in the quadrant. He's jogged down to Jack Clark, had a word with him. Jack Clark hasn't changed his position, leaning over with his hand on the ball.
Will he stay next season with Sunderland, do you think? Roberts has been very good, says Luke. Recently,
nobody in the box itself at the moment for this corner. Now they suddenly break short to Ahmad.
Would he be a miss? I mean, if he's injured and he's not playing, I mean, I think the fans would be a bit mutual.
It's interesting, isn't it, Nick? This is our third corner.
Fourth.
And we cannot put the ball in the box because we've got no height.
Yeah. And again, look, nobody in the box.
Got to try to work it.
It's a terrible corner.
They look to break into the box suddenly. The ball swung in here, straight to the goalkeeper. Straight at Freddie Woodman. Comfortable for him.
We're better off when we get a corner, playing it short and then passing it in, because we've got no height in the box for the cross corner.
0-0 at Middlesbrough and 1-0 to Millwall.
It's got no height whatsoever.
Woodman encouraging his players to push upfield. And the ball floats up over the halfway line. O'Nien with his head on it, away from Tom Cannon.
Millwall 1.
On again,
Millwall 1. Blackburn 1.
Middle by Preston.
There's going to be. We're going to get ready for a roller coaster ride, I think, today.
Wide on the right. He lifts one down the right wing.
Ahmad and Clark would be
it's headed away. It comes
massive
to McCann, forwards to Brad Potts, and he loses out to Ekwa. And Ekwa now looking for the run of Ahmad, but high over him. And back to Woodman. And we've got a goal at Millwall, Colin White.
And it's a great one for Sunderland, it's a great one for Blackburn as well. Millwall 1, Blackburn 1. Their first effort on goal, never mind the first effort on target. 25 yards out, right of centre, lovely left-footed effort from Adam Wharton. It's been all Millwall, but it's 1-0.
That is good news, 0-0 here, 0-0 at Middlesbrough. But that would actually restore Sunderland's place in the playoffs if it were to stay that way, if Sunderland could win, of course. As down goes Fernandez, the ball played into the corner of the penalty area, tapped back out to Cannon, his shot deflected off Neal, comes out to Potts, leaves it for Ledson, and he drives it over the bar and behind.
Easy Blackburn equaliser.
Well, we knew it would swing.
Lovely goal.
Afternoon.
Lovely goal.
It is slightly swinging, but at the moment Sunderland still need to find a goal themselves. And we've got a goal.
Let's just remind ourselves.
Yeah, not good news. Coventry City have taken the lead here, and it's no less than
but there's a surprise there.
Who'd come close.
How was that not a penalty?
Effort then saved by Zach Steffen.
Went trying to tee up. Oh, it's a penalty. It's a penalty. It's gone down, but no penalty, says the referee. Sorry, Pridey.
That's an absolute.
No,
absolute bank of Coventry beating Middlesbrough. That's a penalty. That's a penalty all day long.
So Coventry, as it stands,
watch this. How the hell is that not a penalty? A trailing leg.
69.
Call me a liar, guys. Is that a penalty or not?
And Sunderland on 67. Blackburn on 67 as well, but a worse goal difference. As things stand, halfway through the first half. A long way to go. Thoughts, penalty?
I thought so. Maybe his touch, maybe it was a little bit too heavy. Well, I think that's what the referee might have been looking at.
It was a strong challenge on.
How ironic.
Gelhardt,
West Brom are going up into the playoffs and we beat the buggers.
Here's Roberts on the right now as he tries to work it back in to Ahmad. Now to Gelhardt,
you know,
to Ahmad just behind
if
him.
we don't get the playoffs, I do fancy Coventry to get back in the Prem.
To Roberts back into the centre to Gelhardt and then to Sirkin. Sirkin on the left to Clark. Clark to try and get in past Potts and Story. Leaves it for Sirkin just outside the penalty area. Back to Clark on the corner, stabbed away by Potts. And a possible break now. The advantage played by the referee for a foul on Delap, who's tried to poke the ball through for Cannon, but he overhit it, and Sunderland get the ball away. And down the right to Gooch. Gooch. Now back to Roberts. Roberts gets past Fernandez, but not Lindsay. The loose ball won by Gooch to Ahmad. Back out to Roberts on the right-hand side, and Roberts back inside again to Gooch. Gooch right side of the penalty area.
What a shot by Roberts.
Finds Roberts on the corner. Curls one. And somehow palmed around the post by Woodman. Terrific save.
Great save.
That looked like it was heading in.
That was nearly a carbon copy of the Watford goal.
That's a fantastic save by Woodman. Great effort by Patrick.
So 0-0.
Out.
Another corner. And Clark
out of 10 being the highest. How's everybody's anxiety scale? At the moment, mine's about 5.
On the right, but apart from that, everyone else at the back of the penalty area.
Watching Trey Hume
Clark
here.
there, looking for Trey Hume, who nearly got on the end of it, but headed clear.
So far, we're getting absolutely nothing from this referee.
Who looked like he was fouled, but the referee's let it go, and Potts is on the break here now for Preston.
Stevie Wonder, I think.
Here, but it's stabbed and pushed away by Dan Neil. A composed bit of play from Neil, and he's got the ball out to Clark now on the left-hand side, inside the Preston half, taking on Story into the penalty area. Still has it, Clark on the left-hand side. He dinks it through the box, but it's going to be too much for Gelhardt. And Fernandez says the referee was fouled by Gelhardt, and it's a free kick to Preston.
Equa's got to be careful, especially when you're last man. You cannot afford to lose the ball, possession of the ball.
Bobby Madley was in charge of the game at Watford earlier in the season, which ended 2-2.
That game's gone. I'm forgetting about the Coventry game.
0-0 at the moment.
They only need a draw.
Blackburn and Millwall 1-1.
Middlesbrough not going to beat them.
Coventry leading at Middlesbrough.
That's the only game that's going to go our way, if it is.
It's still, at the moment, in Sunderland's hands if they can get a win. But, as I say, there's a long way to go. The ball headed away, back into the Preston half, then on, picked up by Cannon, laid off here.
What's people's thoughts on the first 26 minutes?
Throw for Preston just inside the Sunderland half. And it's Swansea 1, West Bromwich Albion 1. So that would restore a little bit of hope in one sense for Sunderland. If you just keep West Bromwich Albion out the equation, with Sunderland drawing as well. West Bromwich Albion was sit in 8th, if I'm right, on goal difference from Sunderland as it stands at the moment.
Would it be cruel to say Preston's just slightly edged it this first half so far?
Now, a throw to Preston on the far side. Blackburn in 9th at the moment. I'm trying to do my mental arithmetic and watch the game at the same time. I'll leave it all to Dom at half time, but I think I'm right. The bottom line is Sunderland need a goal. They need to win this game, and at the moment it's in the balance either side. Sunderland have been enjoying a bit of a purple patch the last 10 minutes. Here's Gooch down the right hand side.
Loads of people
had to turn and try
kicking off saying that was 100% dead set play.
Plays it back behind
one
goal
Neil. Says,
Neil again here on the right hand side of midfield and pushing it on. Ahmad looked like he was caught, but the referee says no. Lindsay lifts it over the top. Cannon will chase, but Patterson comes out and catches the ball at the edge of the penalty area. Out to O'Nien and then out to Sirkin and out to Clark, left wing, just inside the Preston half. Potts trying, but he's being dragged about all over. The referee has given Sunderland a free kick. It was taken, you wouldn't know it. Ekwa is trying to get the ball down the left for Sirkin, but it's hit too hard and rolls behind for a goal kick.
Got more chance there, sleeping Mother Teresa.
So 0-0 here, 1-1 at the Den, and 1-0 to Coventry at the Riverside. And here there was a penalty appeal that was dismissed by Bobby Madley. The ball swept up over the top, and it will come back to Patterson, who catches it at the edge of his penalty area and rolls it out now to Dan Neil in the middle of the Sunday.
Hey, Ant, what's Coventry's last 5 games? I've got a funny feeling they've been really good the last few matches.
Poor pass by Gooch, straight out on halfway, throw to Preston on this left-hand side. And McCann plays it back to Bauer.
They looked good against us when we played them there.
And Story into the centre circle to McCann. He's looking for Cannon, who played it back to Ledson, trying to get it down to Potts, but it went to O'Nien, and then Clark couldn't quite control it, and it's rolled out for a throw to Preston on the right wing, halfway inside the Sunderland half. Nearly half an hour played in the games around the country in the Championship. Back onto halfway, BBC Radio Newcastle, SAFC.com,
Coventry City, man.
And back to Freddie Woodman. Woodman plays it out again to Bauer.
Middlesbrough.
And the big German comes up to the halfway line, looking for Cannon again. Back it comes though to McCann. He heads it into the path of Clark. Try to get it inside to Neil.
They won the League Cup
away,
Millennium Stadium.
down the right wing, looking for Cannon, and Preston win a throw. Yeah. Challenged by O'Nien, who's down. Flat out on the far side, Luke O'Nien at the moment.
That's the last thing we need.
Yeah, exactly. So the referee comes across. Pete Brands jogged down, waiting to be allowed to come on by the referee. He is now, and so O'Nien will receive some treatment. He's rolled on his back. Hopefully nothing too serious. I think got a knock in the face, didn't he, when he was trying to defend that ball, trying to keep it in.
I'd still be happy with the 7th place finish. Christ almighty.
0-0 then here. While we wait to see what's happening here, let's briefly get to the Den. Colin White.
Yeah, Blackburn are suddenly back in this game. It's been a half hour of two halves so far. Millwall, by far the better side of the opening 20 minutes, got the goal they deserved after 20 minutes from Duncan Watmore, former Sunderland player, of course. They nearly made it 2-0. It was then ruled out for offside after Tom Bradshaw hit his free kick off the inside of the post and it was tapped home. But the offside flag went up on the far side. Blackburn then equalised midway through this first half with their only so far shot on
Who do you
goal.
think should win that
It was
match
a lovely
against
strike from the edge of the box.
Blackburn?
So far so good as far as Sunderland are concerned. Millwall 1, Blackburn 1.
Thanks, Colin. Let's briefly go to the Riverside and Simon Pride.
And Coventry still lead by 1-0. Gustavo Hamer with that goal, a shot from the edge of the area to the bottom left corner, and Coventry deserve that lead. They've been the better team. They started off very quickly, had a few chances. Borough have offered very little so far. Sunderland need Borough to get back into this game if they're going to do them a favour, but it's 1-0 Coventry.
Well,
just a report from Coventry Middlesbrough have not done a thing since kick-off. It's all been Coventry.
And now Potts does take a throw for Preston on the far side, and it's still 0-0 here. You missed nothing because players only just restarted. The ball through to McCann here, and out wide to Fernandez on the left-hand side.
Coventry's going to win.
Inside the Sunderland half, and the Spaniard pulls it back to the German, Bauer, in the centre circle, and then to Jordan Storey on the right-hand side, the West Countryman, the former Exeter defender. And then on to halfway to Ledson, and Ledson out wide to the former Carlisle midfielder, Brad Potts, inside to McCann again, and McCann back to Storey, just inside the Preston half, and he plays it back to Freddie Woodman.
It's just got more like of a friendly game on
area. His kick,
hasn't it?
Goes out for a throw to Sunderland on the far side. Sirkin will get the ball back to take that for Sunderland. And the game's gone a little bit flat suddenly. I don't know whether the stoppage was the reason for that. Sunderland trying to get it going again, with Gelhardt being climbed all over on the far side.
It's a bit slow with one or two decisions, isn't he, the referee, for me?
He's finally given
the free kick. I don't know what he's waiting for.
So, free kick then, just in from touch.
You've been talking about this on Talk Sport.
Played back now
it's absolutely pointless
in the middle of the Sunderland half, out wide
manager
to
get sent to the stands.
And Gooch up towards the
72 watching,
line,
if you can hit the thumbs up, thank you very much. It's just a little clip, and hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so. Thank you.
Forwards to Ekwa on the right of midfield, Ahmad just ahead of him. Back again to Neil, quickly plays the ball out to Gooch on the right. Roberts is wide. Gooch looks up and he's going to go for Roberts on the touchline, and he's cutting back inside. Finds Ahmad at the edge of the penalty area.
Thanks for the 3 subscribers there, thank you very much.
He lays it off to Gooch again wide, and Gooch plays it back to Ahmad at the corner of the box, and back out to Roberts. Roberts trying to find an open, taps it inside to Ahmad, back to Ekwa, and Ekwa back again to Hume in the centre circle. And Hume to Sirkin, and Sirkin taking this on down the left of midfield. Gelhardt inside, Clark wide, and Clark now on the touchline. Clark trying to dribble in past Potts into the penalty area. He's in the box, he's laid it off now for Gooch. Onto his right foot, onto his left, and then shoots wide, high and wide. Why didn't he shoot first time?
should have shot first time, or even good first touch and play it out.
Middlesbrough will be a shout, yeah, just possibly.
Pace, a bit quicker. But good build up again, you've got to say. Patient,
trying to find a way
but Declan got his shirt off his Uncle Ben.
4 minutes. 0-0 here. 1-0 to Coventry at Middlesbrough. 1-1 at Millwall. As the ball played down the right. I think it came off the back of.
Serkin's rolling around the floor there.
Two players collide and go down. Play continues.
Preston players shouting for the ball to be put out.
Getting himself up. But I think Gelhardt, is it not Gelhardt?
The referee hasn't got a. He doesn't know what he's doing, does he? At times.
Gary Bennett's just said the referee has not got a clue what he's doing today.
Finally, the referee's stopped play. You're right about it takes his time, Bobby Madley, blowing his whistle. But Serkin.
Well, why do you think it wasn't a penalty then? Because I mean, the referee was perfectly positioned to see that. Well, what did he see that we didn't?
Injury record isn't great. Not for anything that he is. It's just been bad luck. This time, I don't think. I mean, although he's got his hands on his head, I think it's his foot.
Yeah, it was a clash, wasn't it?
Yeah. It looks like he's getting his left ankle massaged.
Was going to be the
case. Far side. I'm not sure what the. I think it'll be a drop ball, won't it? Serkin just starting to sit up. We've got a goal at Millwall. Colin White.
Yeah, and Duncan Watmore scored again, as you can probably hear from the side behind me. It's Millwall 2.
Duncan Watmore scored again.
Corner. It was a two-man break for Millwall. Long ball forward from Bradshaw. It wasn't a very good ball forward, to be honest, but it was headed right up in the air in front of his own goalkeeper by Harry Pickering. It left both of them stranded. Watmore ran round them both, slotted it home, and it's Millwall 2, Blackburn 1.
Blackburn is shite like.
Not news we wanted to hear. News we do want to hear, though, is Serkin's back up on his feet.
Then
appears to be okay on the far side. So as things
stand, my anxiety meter's gone down to about 1% now, because it's like, okay.
West Bromwich Albion on 67, Sunderland on 67, but above
it's about 67.75%.
Who are on 66
and
points.
That's mostly aimed at the referee.
Sunderland, at the moment, again, sitting just outside the playoffs. 2 points. Sorry, 4 points adrift of Millwall.
What's he given a free kick? Oh, is that for Ekwa?
Must have been a free kick.
All of a sudden, Duncan Watmore turns into Lionel Messi last game of the season.
It's come back out into midfield. Gelhardt pushed and shoved, and McCann comes away with the ball. And Delap's on his.
Oh, that should have been fucking 1-0 Preston.
Into the penalty area, he scores. No, he doesn't. Delap should have scored. He's put it past the foot of the post. He was through on his own into the penalty area, only had Patterson to beat, and he's rolled it wide of the foot of the left post. Shots of Ryan Lowe on the gantry on the far side, he can't believe it. Preston should be one up, they've missed a golden opportunity.
That's a golden chance for Preston. Maybe, hopefully that's a sign.
Duncan Watmore turns into Lionel Messi, last game of the fucking season. It's typical, isn't it?
Here still, and Delap will wonder how he didn't score.
He's been left open a couple of times, Nick, I must admit.
Well, that time they really were cut open down the middle, as trying to get down into the corner and dig this one out from Clark is Potts, and there's a real battle between the two of them. The ball has remained in play, and it's at the edge of the area, and Cannon's trying to get it in here. He's been forced out, he leaves it for a cross on a flick. Cannon heads it at Patterson, and we're going back to the den.
It's 3-1 to Millwall. Another Blackburn mistake, this time in the middle of midfield, given away to Ollie Burke, who cut in from the right wing relatively unchallenged, fired it home. It's a good strike, low and hard from the edge of the penalty area. Millwall 3, Blackburn 1.
Well, things worsen. Coventry leading, Millwall leading 3-1. Sunderland, well, they need to find a goal from somewhere, but it's looking as though it is possibly slipping away from them this afternoon. The rain started to fall here too as well, as Preston again carved Sunderland open, and Patterson saving from Cannon. But here's Ahmad into the penalty area on the right, a block by Bauer at the corner of the 6-yard box for a corner. End to end, and another corner for Sunderland. So Millwall eking out a 3-1 lead.
I said, didn't I, 25 minutes ago, I think it could be a rout for Millwall.
Middlesbrough always score.
Gary Bennett said Middlesbrough always score. I think he's clutching at straws there, Mr. Gary Bennett. It's been a desperation.
The ball pushed out to Neil on the right side of the penalty area, inside to Ahmad. Ahmad back here.
I'm not complaining.
Gooch down to the corner. A lovely little flick by Roberts for Neil on the goal line. He plays it back to Roberts on the right of the penalty area. Tapped away though. Neil wins it back. Ahmad now behind him on the right. A back heel for Roberts. Roberts inside to Hume. And back to Ekwa.
We've got to make sure we don't leave ourselves open.
Middlesbrough would rather rub deep heat on the bell ends than freaking win that Coventry match.
Comes back to Patterson in the middle of the Sunderland half. Out wide to Gooch here. Gooch on the right wing, inside to Ahmad. Ahmad out to Roberts. Roberts inside to Gooch, who felt he was
absolutely. I might have an Indian as well. She's only 25-year-old. She's quite all right as well.
He's taking his time in making decisions, but that's fallen in Sunderland's favour.
Blackburn are fucking awful, aren't they?
Middlesbrough 0, Coventry 1. It is Millwall 3, Blackburn 1. Here is Preston North End 0, Sunderland.
But there's only one side out of all them fours going to actually get promoted, so there will be disappointment for either one of them 4 teams.
Right side of midfield.
So it's not all jubilation for any of them teams yet.
Ahmad over the ball at the
As a matter of fact,
5 minutes until half time.
There's nothing worse a feeling in the world than losing the playoff final.
Gooch out wide
a lot worse than going out in the first leg.
Roberts now trying to come in past Fernandez. He's trying his best to get past the Spaniard, gets to the goal line, pulls it back. Woodman, I think, is trying to say the ball had gone out, but it's gone out for a throw eventually. Gooch takes it to Ahmad, back to Gooch. It's stabbed away to Cannon, back behind him, and played over the top by McCann, but way ahead of Troy Parrott. And it comes back to Patterson just outside his penalty area, out to Neil on the touchline, inside then to Ekwa, to Gooch, back inside to Ekwa into the Preston half, to Roberts ahead of him, back to Ekwa, a run made by Gelhardt into the penalty area. Gelhardt!
Oh, he's got to score!
What a save by Woodman!
He's got to score!
Woodman just stood in front of Gelhardt, went down at his feet and
good save, to be fair.
Gelhardt was through one-on-one, should have scored.
Great build-up play, excellent.
Terrific stop by Woodman. 2 very good saves by him in the first half. One from Roberts and that one from Gelhardt. So 0-0 still as we approach half-time. Ball flicked on the head of Delap. A little back heel inside, looking for Delap, but O'Nien intercepts it. Back to Patterson. Out here now to Gooch on this right-hand side, and Gooch has got Fernandez in front of him, plays it out to Roberts, cuts inside away from Lindsay, through the middle to Ahmad. Ahmad, little back heel to Roberts. Gelhardt making another run, but it's played to Clark in the penalty area. On to his right, tries to place it straight at the goalkeeper.
It's a bad shot from Clark, that man.
He knows it himself. He's got his head in his hands.
But that was just a pass back to the keeper. Can't hold my breath any longer listening to the commentary. Oh my God, says Luke.
So, at the moment, as it stands, Coventry in 5th on 72 points, Millwall in 6th on 71 points, Sunderland in 7th on 67 points, West Bromwich Albion 8th on 67 points, and Blackburn Rovers 9th on 66 points. So we head into half-time. Here's Preston at the edge of the area. Cannon trying to get through, it's blocked, comes out to Fernandez, who's kept it down and finds here on the left-hand side Parrott, and Parrott now just taps it behind him to McCann, and McCann down to Fernandez again, but under pressure he loses it, and Neil plays it through now to Gelhardt. Gelhardt tackled, fouled by Ledson. Right in front of Bobby Madley. Free kick to Sunderland, just behind the centre circle. We've got a minute or so of the first half left, plus whatever time added on.
I don't know what your thoughts on the referee, Nick, but it's a delayed action all the time.
It's like VAR. Slow motion.
You've always got an uphill task.
I know exactly what you mean.
You've got to rely on other results. It's like you're 1-0 down before a goal's kicked. The ball's even kicked.
Which way the referee's going with it. Well, Neil now has to retake the free kick because Bobby Madley not happy with the position of the free kick. Hume takes it again to Neil, to O'Nien, and down the left-hand side here to Sirkin. There's a run by Clark. Clark down the left touchline, turns and is being forced inside. He's trying to get the ball through to Gelhardt.
It's a foul from behind.
This 23, 24 yards out on the left of central midfield.
And then you lot see Middlesbrough getting the 2 goals, like
45-minute mark. Tony Mowbray strolling about in the rain just outside his technical area now. Strolls back towards the.
They don't need to, though, do they?
Dugout. Clark positioning the ball for the free kick. We'll have 3 minutes.
Minimum of 3 added minutes. End of this half.
Sunderland could score here. It would certainly put their position going into half-time.
Are your Coventry stuff the twats in the playoffs?
They would still not be in the playoff positions, but they would be in the position they need to be as Clark drives the free kick into the wall. Neil drives one straight at the edge of the penalty area and it's blocked. And now here is another possible break as the ball drops for Parrott, and Parrott with Gooch on his shoulder, and Parrott trying to hold off Gooch.
Still 50-50 game this, I think. The results so far is fair between Sunderland and Preston. Both teams could have scored a couple of
Ahmad
goals.
wins it back. Ahmad's tackle, but the ball fell for Ekwa. Ekwa nearly tripped, still trying to get forward. Looks at the referee, and again, the referee takes 2 or 3 seconds and pulls play back and gives the free kick.
Referee. I tell you what, Nick, get changed, go down there, you'll referee the game better than him.
Not so sure about that.
Huh? You can't do any worse.
Luke says Middlesbrough need 1 goal and Sunderland need 2.
You go down there, in your tweet, you'll be all
Middlesbrough
right.
need 2 goals because they have to beat Coventry.
I think both sets of fans
a draw,
chiming in with you.
A draw is good enough for Coventry.
0-0, free kick has come back to Hume, then out to Gooch on this right-hand side, just up to halfway, and then inside to Neil, to O'Nien, and O'Nien at the back of the centre circle. Just over a minute to play. Forwards to Roberts, taps it back to Neil. Neil out to Gooch, back inside to Neil, inside to Roberts, and Roberts to Ekwa. Ekwa.
Money.
The edge of the centre circle into the last minute. Ahmad.
But better be careful, copyright.
Back to Neil, Roberts, and now to Ahmad. Back inside to Roberts. Half time at Millwall. We'll go there shortly. And here's Gooch trying to find, well, Clark in the end. It was initially meant for Sirkin, but it's rolled through to Clark wide on the left. He's dribbling at Potts into the penalty area. Potts makes a block and the ball behind off Clark for a goal kick to Preston North End with less than 30 seconds of the first half remaining here in the pouring rain. It's not that Sunderland haven't had chances and they've had a penalty shout as well, but the best chance of the afternoon fell to Liam Delap, who was through one-on-one but put the ball an inch wide of the foot of the left post, so it's 0-0.
What about Gelhardt?
Well, Gelhardt should have scored as well, shouldn't he? He was through.
Oh, for God's sake, if Middlesbrough take the lead, my anxiety levels will go up to 9.6 now.
As the half-time whistle goes. It's 0-0, that's the main thing, that's the key thing. And it's not going Sunderland's way. Let's go to the Riverside. There's been a goal.
There has, and it's an equaliser for Middlesbrough, their first effort on goal as well. I haven't even been able to see who scored it yet. Such was the scramble in the 6-yard box. An original shot was beaten out by the goalkeeper, and then it was finished at close range amidst the scramble of players. But the most important thing to tell you is that Middlesbrough are level.
There's some Sunderland fans being negative by saying forget Middlesbrough now, it's over now. I was being a bit too premature by saying that's it, there's a goal.
Troop off here, let's go to the Den. Colin White.
Yeah, it's not game over, but it's very much advantage Millwall. They lead by 3 goals to 1 at half-time. The former Sunderland player, Duncan Watmore, scoring 2 of them, and then the third one was a real mix-up from Blackburn. In fact, they gave away the second and third goals, to be perfectly honest. They equalised out of absolutely nothing. We'll do a proper half-time round-up in a moment, but Millwall 3-1 up on Blackburn at half-time.
Thanks, Colin. So, as it stands, the players leave here. Millwall will go 5th on 71 points, Coventry 6th on 70 points, Sunderland 7th on 67 points, West Bromwich Albion 8th on 67 points, and 9th Blackburn Rovers on 6 points.
Do you know what would be perfect recipe for anxiety?
Half time at Deepdale is Preston North End 0,
Middlesbrough,
Sunderland
0. Get a winning goal.
Total
stoppages.
BBC Radio
in 8 minutes
Newcastle.
into stoppages, Sunderland get a penalty against Preston.
Back in the BBC Radio Newcastle studio, the final day of the championship season, in the regular season. Preston 0, Sunderland 0. Sunderland needing to win if they are to stand a chance of a playoff place. They need results from elsewhere. Coventry away to Middlesbrough, and the Black Cats need a favour from their close rivals today. Simon Pride, is that the Riverside? It's still 1-1?
It's 1-1, yes. Half-time whistle has
It's
now
a strange game.
well. So Middlesbrough getting back on level terms just before half-time. It was Cameron Archer who got that equaliser for Borough. A bit of a scramble after a shot was saved, and he poked it home from around about 6 yards. And to be honest, that came out of nowhere for Middlesbrough, who hadn't really looked interested this afternoon. They hadn't really got into the game particularly. Coventry started by far the quickest, and only a great save from Zach Steffen kept them out early on. In only the second minute, Gustavo Hamer went through and had his shot saved. And actually from the subsequent corner, we've heard all about Duncan Watmore's exploits at Millwall, and another former Sunderland player, Callum Doyle, came close from that corner as well. Gyökeres went through and had a shot blocked by Steffen, and then Eccles had a shot which he dragged.
I'm not disappointed at the minute.
So
I mean, I'm
kind
of,
of going,
I'm content, if you know what I mean. It's like I'm not like absolutely gutted. I'm like, oh well, if I was at the game now, I'd stand up and applaud them off.
Played through by Matt Godden, and from the edge of the penalty area, from a central position, drove it into the bottom left-hand corner. And Middlesbrough didn't really respond. It looked as though the game was going to drift to half-time, with Coventry relatively comfortable themselves without really creating any more opportunities. But then, just before the whistle blew, Middlesbrough did have a meaningful break, as I say, and that resulted in Archer's equaliser just before the half-time whistle. Could be a very, very significant goal as well. If Sunderland can get their noses in front at Preston North End, then that would make it nervous times for Coventry City, who a point would be enough for them to ensure a playoff place, but they have been pegged back at half-time here at the Riverside.
Put this way, if we don't make the playoffs, the positive side of it is we'll be able to sit back and watch the playoff games without any anxiety and laugh at the others.
It's been a funny old 45 minutes. The half-time score, though, is Millwall 3, Blackburn 1. It was a terrific start as far as the home side were concerned. Duncan Watmore, formerly of Sunderland, of course, scoring the opening goal of the game after just 7 minutes. Millwall had been dominant even up to that point. The long throw from the left-hand side from Zion Fleming bounced a couple of times in the box and just sat up really nicely for Watmore. The half volley came in from him. He actually rattled off the underside of the crossbar, bounced down, bounced out, and then everybody had to wait for a second while referee Craig Pawson looked at his watch, and he got the signal he needed to give the goal. So that was 1-0. Then 4 minutes later, Millwall thought they'd made it 2-0. A Tom Bradshaw free kick from just outside the box was clipped beautifully. It came off the inside of the left-hand post. It ended up in the middle of the 6-yard box, was tapped home by one of his teammates. A little bit of a scramble. Millwall celebrated because they thought they were 2-0 up, and then the assistant referee's flag went up on the far side to rule it out for offside. They then conceded an equaliser out of absolutely nothing. Blackburn had barely had a foot on the ball, never mind a shot on goal, before Adam Wharton, after 22 minutes, cut in from the right hand side, unleashed a terrific left-footed effort that rifled into the bottom left-hand corner, and all of a sudden it was one apiece. But then Millwall reasserted their authority. Duncan Watmore profiting from a horrible mix-up at the back from Blackburn. The long ball forward, it was just lofted high in the air from Bradshaw. It wasn't a particularly good ball forward, but as far as Blackburn were concerned, they made a hash of it. Harry Pickering got
I thought Gelhardt could have nudged the ball with his right foot and just rounded the keeper there.
Play, and Watmore had a relatively simple chance to slot it home and make it 2-1. And then 4 minutes after that, Blackburn gave the ball away again, and this time in the middle of midfield. Ollie Burke had all the space he wanted on the right-hand side, cut in, and his low effort found the bottom corner as well. It's not game over. I've just said this a couple of minutes ago. It's not game over, but it's very much advantage Millwall, because they lead at the Den at half-time by 3-1.
Colin White, thank you very much indeed. Let's take a look what that means for the Championship table then. In 5th, Millwall on 71 points with 10 goals.
Do you want me to go through some socials?
Coventry in 6th on 70 points with a 12 goal difference. Sunderland in 7th, 67 points with
I'd keep
10
crackling on
goal
for 10
difference.
minutes and then make a
West
change.
Brom in 9th on 67 with a 7 goal difference, and Blackburn in 9th on 66 points with a -5 goal difference. Let's take a look at some of the other Championship games today. Goalless at the break between Birmingham and Sheffield United. Burnley 2-0 up against Cardiff City. Huddersfield goalless with Reading. Luton are goalless with Hull City. Norwich are losing at home 1-0 to Blackpool. It is Queen's Park Rangers 0, Bristol City 1, Swansea 1, West Brom 1, Watford 0, Stoke 0, and Wigan Athletic 0, Rotherham 0. Let's just take a look at
I'm going to go through some socials now.
It is Fulham 3, Leicester City 0. The only 2 games in the Premier League today are at 5. Is it 5 o'clock? That is
for the half-time score so far.
Southampton into League 2.
Peter Chicken says, making chances, so still hopeful.
Stevenage
needs Smoggies to do us a favour and score second.
Full-time
obvious.
Bradford City
love Gelhardt, but you can't miss a chance like that. Of course you can't. Even Messi's missed things like that. Should be 1-0 up, better team, and believe it. Anyone but Gelhardt through on goal and they score. Not really. I don't agree on that one. I feel a goal coming from that.
1, Sutton 1, Carlisle United 1, Swindon Town 2, Crawley Town 1, Tranmere Rovers 0, Northampton Town 1, Walsall 2, Doncaster Rovers 1. Let's take a look at what that means for the League 2 table then. Leyton Orient Cup as champions in the automatics is Stevenage and Northampton. In the playoffs in League 2 then, Stockport County are finished in 4th, Carlisle United in 5th, Bradford 4th, and then in 7th, Salford
Mad
City
mistake must be at the Preston match. He said he's not streaming.
1 goal difference there. Missing out was Mansfield Town, who finished in 6th place.
He must have been on there.
And we're going back to Deepdale to speak to Marco Gabbiadini next.
You never see one of those speed camera vans until they're actually there. I've never seen one moving round the northeast.
Oh, he's in Wincy's bar and grill. Millwall cracked it, says Daly.
Stuff that you never see. Davey said you never see a Geordie lifting a cup. He's from Teesside. Matthew's on the phone. Morning, Matthew.
Morning, Matt. You never see traffic wardens until after you're booked.
Yes.
I'm sure the hide round corners till you leave the car.
The sound of the Northeast at breakfast. BBC Radio Newcastle, making a difference in the Northeast.
Dominic James at the BBC Radio Newcastle studio. Marco Gabbiadini, the former Sunderland striker, at Deepdale. Preston 0, Sunderland 0. And Marco, what's your thoughts on the first half performance from Sunderland?
Well, it's a miracle. It's 0-0. Either team had, a host of chances really. It's surprising that the
Marco Gabbiadini's just being asked what's his thoughts on the first half, and he's just basically saying what we've all said. It's a miracle, it's 0-0, both teams having a good go. Preston had the biggest chance squandered, more than Gelhardt when he was practically at the open goal. But Marco says you can't call it. He says both teams are 50-50. Both good to see each other on the day so far.
I think then Sunderland got back into the game and started getting their possession and their passing going, and it's turned into a really interesting encounter. But yeah, some very clear-cut chances. Gelhardt
you're right,
scored. I also think we should have had a penalty as well. I thought it was a big shout for a penalty on Gelhardt as well, when he had a touch across his defender, and you know, you could say he knocked it a little bit out of his feet, but that really isn't the criteria. The defender brought him down.
As a player, Marco, are you going in at half time wanting to know what the other teams are doing, or are you just focusing on what you've got to do in the second half?
It's a difficult one. I mean, you know, probably it's probably better not to know, but you know, it's hard. Usually, somebody will say what the situation is. So, look, Sunderland know what they knew what they had to do right from minute one today, and that's win. Nothing matters unless we win. So we've got to go for the win. You know, those two games probably won't finish up the same score. That's the only thing I'd say. You know, Borough and Millwall, it will change. So, you know, you've got to keep hoping, you've got to keep believing, and the opportunity is still there. And you know, the lads have, you know, they've shown that they want to win this game. Just got to be a little bit careful, because they are, you know, here they are a little bit vulnerable to the breakaway today.
Important that one of the creative players step up and create that moment of magic in this second half.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a couple. You know, the move for the Gelhardt chance was beautiful football. That was Ekwar, picked it up deep in his own half. He played about 4-1-2s right through Preston. You know, Preston were a bit open.
It's hard, we've got to win this, Brian. We have
played right through them, and a beautiful, you know, slide rule, you know, Dalglish, Ian Rush type of pass through the middle of the defence. That was great skill. And
no, I don't think he has. I think he's been very hesitant and snappy. I think some of his passes have been bad. He's not been on the form as usually has. This time,
there's been some good moments, and there's been, you know, quite a few of them for Sunderland. Roberts again danced right along the byline and got to almost to the 6-yard line and crossed it back. Paul tried to pull it back, but nobody was there. But you know, Sunderland's approach has been quite slow at times, so that, you know, Preston have got the chance to get men behind the ball, which has been a problem for this season. But we always seem to find a way, so we've just got to keep believing that we'll score again.
Thank you very much, Marco Gabbiadini, for that. We'll head back to Deepdale in just a couple of moments. Just a quick reminder then, after the match, you can have your say on the phone-in with Gary Bennett.
Is there any players that you wouldn't miss if we got rid of?
Just very quickly, just a couple of things to mention. That over the weekend, if you missed it, Newcastle Falcons lost their final game of the season away to Sale, losing 54-12. In the Rugby League Championship, Newcastle Thunder lost away to the Halifax Panthers yesterday. In the Speedway Championship, the Berg Bandits won. They won 47-43 over the Scunthorpe Scorpions. And time for us then to head back to Deepdale here on BBC Radio Newcastle for second half commentary of Preston versus Sunderland in the company of Nick Barnes and Gary Bennett.
Nick Barnes and Gary Bennett, MBE.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
And there's a change for the start of the second half. Pritchard's coming on for Sirkin. So I wonder if that knock that Sirkin got earlier in the game is probably a little bit more serious than we thought. So Pritchard will start the second half for Sunderland, as the Sunderland players are out for the second 45. No sign as yet of Preston. But still raining fairly steadily, so that has been that may make a little difference to the pitch, I suppose. But as it stands, Sunderland need Middlesbrough to score, and Sunderland need to score themselves if they are to extend their season. 45 to go, and as Marco Gabbiadini said at half-time, as often as not, Sunderland find a way. So fingers crossed they can for the second half.
Oh, we've got substitute.
Interesting that
Pritchard's coming on.
Had to go off. It's obviously he's felt something from that knock. I would imagine that Jack Clark maybe go and play left back, or Gooch has come to left side.
It'll be interesting to see what they do actually here.
Well, by the looks of it,
Alex Pritchard's like coming on.
No, they're going to play with three.
Gooch is a left-sided centre half. That's remarkable. He must be the shortest centre half in history. But there's the change announced for the start of the second half. Roberts will be playing as a right wing back and Clark is the left wing back, and Gooch is now the left-sided defender of the three at the back. 09 in the centre, Hume on the right, as Bobby Madley gets the second half underway here at Deepdale. Well, yet another twist in Sunderland's season. Gooch, who's now taken his repertoire yet further in terms of positions played, as Preston trying to push forwards on the right-hand side here, having kicked off, and Potts to McCann, inside then to Ledson, back out to Story down the line to Potts, inside to McCann, back to Potts, who swings across into the box. Up went Cannon, nods the ball down here to Fernandez on the left-hand side. He crosses back in and Patterson catches it at the near post.
It's interesting, the ball's gone to the far post. What chances Patrick Roberts got of winning it at the back post? We must have the smallest back three.
I'm just streaming the match anyway, so we'll see when you get in soon.
Yeah,
in the league.
See you later, Pat.
O'Nien bringing the ball out now for...
Oh, you can't do that.
He's being caught in the middle, and through comes Cannon. Great. He crashes a shot off the back of Hume, out for a throw on the far side. So 0-0 still here.
We're taking chances, aren't we?
And the player that got smashed with the ball for Preston, I think, is McCann, gets himself to his feet, looking slightly winded and pained by that experience. So Patterson in goal, a back three now of Hume, O'Nien and Gooch,
Leeds, Southampton,
with Roberts and Clark as the wing backs, and Ahmad, Gelhardt and Pritchard up front for Sunderland, who need to score. As the ball comes right across the field.
Everton play Brighton tonight.
To Sunderland on the left-hand side here. Preston,
Middlesbrough will go and win the game.
Well, that's what Sunderland have to wish for.
They will.
And they have to score. And if that's the case, Sunderland still need to win, come what may. But a long way to go. Woodman in goal for Preston as the ball comes up to halfway, headed away by Bauer. Back four of Story.
Gary Bennett just says Middlesbrough are going to win. So there we go. You've heard it from the man.
Front, Parrott and Cannon. Here's Story swinging a ball into the Sunderland penalty area. Hume heads it out powerfully up towards Ahmad. He tried to flick it on, but it's come back here to Roberts.
Do you know what?
Ekwa digs it out for Pritchard. Pritchard now rolling it to Ahmad. Ahmad taking this on. He's got Lindsay just in front of him.
Oh,
in the middle. He leaves it for Neal. He tries to place it. He's just round the foot of the post from Dan Neal.
Nevis, yeah.
Tried to place it in the corner. I thought it was going in, but just round the post.
You see the difference we've got when Pritchard's on?
Second half. 0-0 still. So it opened up, but they couldn't find the back of the net. Incidentally, of course, the game at the Stadium of Light ended 0-0 between these two. We've got a goal at the Den. Colin White.
Game on. Millwall 3, Blackburn 2. Ben Brereton Diaz hit the free kick.
I'm from Ecuador. Hello, Pim. How are you doing?
By the goalkeeper. There were a couple of Blackburn attempts to follow it up, but the successful one came from Dominic Hyam. There's no other way to describe it. Game on. Millwall 3, Blackburn 2.
Well, it's going to be interesting. It's going to swing through the second half. 3-2 then to Millwall. That doesn't change the way the table is at the moment, but here are Sunderland having to clear again out to Pritchard. Now Ahmad just short of the halfway line is just taken off him by his Manchester United teammate Fernandez, and back to Woodman. Big hello to Darren Force in Farringdon this afternoon. He's doing his paperwork because it's ahead. Listening to us here at Deepdale, so fingers crossed, Darren, you're not shredding pens and paper and biting your fingernails, as Gooch here has to bring the ball out again.
I think you're going to see a different side from Sunderland this second half. I think we're going to dominate the second half.
Line. Ahmad out wide now and trying to take this on down that right hand side, and cut inside is Roberts. Back to Neal. Neal to Roberts again, through to Ahmad, to Pritchard, and then back out on the right hand side, picked up by Roberts. taking on
right
side of the ball. What lovely move from him.
He's got to
Tries
score,
to
it's
Gelhardt, and rather than shoot, he flicks it through to Clark, and Preston get it clear. 0-0 still, and the ball knocked out for a throw on halfway to Sunderland.
Why didn't he shoot?
Here's Gelhardt again, out to Gooch.
Gooch, pass it, man, pass it, Gooch.
Taking on Brad
Trying to
Potts
take fucking 2 minutes on.
As well. McCann gets a foot to it, just kept it in with a back heel. Potts out here into midfield to Parrott.
Now it's gone up to 4.5.
And at the edge of the area, Story, and he plays it back to goalkeeper Freddie Woodman, who kicks it up over Gelhardt to the centre circle. Neil tried to get it to Pritchard. It comes back eventually to Hume, O'Nien, and forwards to Ekwa in the centre circle. And now down the right-hand side of midfield to Ahmad. Ahmad out wide to Roberts. Roberts on the touchline, trying to cut in past Fernandez. The rain is heavier as Roberts leaves it for Pritchard in the middle. And Pritchard out to the left-hand side here to Clark. Clark coming towards the corner of the penalty area. Potts stabs a foot through it. Out for a throw to Sunderland on this left-hand side, 20 yards from the corner. 0-0 here. It's 1-1 at Middlesbrough and 3-2 to Millwall.
Oh, Roberts, for fuck's sake, man!
Ekwa! He shot straight to the keeper, who's made a block.
Slide it down.
How the
it looked odds on that Ekwa was going to score, but Woodman's blocked him again. So 0-0. Another corner comes here to Pritchard in at the edge of the area to Ahmad. He's overhit the pass through behind for a goal kick.
Great build-up play again. It's just that last touch, composure, just slide the ball.
This game could be 4-4 at the moment. It's 0-0.
Good goalkeeping, to be fair, that like.
So Woodman with a goal kick passes it out to Story on the right-hand side.
How can we not score? We sounds we should have had a few, said we. Absolutely,
away to our left. Preston in white shirts, navy blue shorts.
There's going to be some twists to come yet.
Sunderland in their light blue comes here to Story on the right. Story down
all
the right
aboard the
side,
Sunderland roller coaster.
Swept down the right wing. Liam Delat will be beaten to it by Patterson. The bank of 6,000 Sunderland fans on.
That's a terrible touch. Terrible touch.
In the Bill Shankly stand as Ahmad beaten to it by Cannon, and the on-loan striker from Everton trying to drift through, gets the ball into the penalty area, squared here but blocked, comes out to McCann, and McCann shot is wide of the right post for a goal kick to Sunderland.
Have you got any nails left?
How there's not been a goal in this game is beyond me. I mean, credit to Freddie Woodman. He's pulled off 2-3 very good saves from Roberts, from Gelhardt, and now Ekwa. And Sunderland have spurned some chances as well. Gelhardt, that one when he was through, should have scored. Delap should have scored for Preston in the first half. But it's 0-0. Sunderland need a goal. It's played out to O'Nien. Here's Gooch on the left-hand side again. We are 9 minutes nearly into the second half. Ekwa up over the halfway line into Pritchard. Pritchard now finds to his right Roberts. Roberts wide to Ahmad.
I just want to see the limbs go mad behind the goal.
Roberts just outside the penalty area. Slipped it inside to Ahmad, who plays it back to Roberts, and Roberts.
Get in! What a fucking goal! Oh, Diallo, what a fucking screamer!
Ahmad,
come on!
One in the top left corner, almost a replica of his goal at Wigan.
Ange, watch your screen.
What an exquisite touch from Ahmad. Picked his spot, top left corner. The bank goes wild. And Sunderland lead 1-0.
What a finish that is by Ahmed. He's always got that in his locker. But what a finish.
Come on, Borough. Come on, Borough.
Finish.
Come on, Borough.
Out of absolutely nothing. and you'd expect nothing less from Ahmad. He just swung his left foot and up into the top left corner, and Sunderland take the lead.
I tell you what, Nick, we've been entertained this season. The football we've played, but also the goals we've scored.
What a fucking goal that was! Out of nowhere, that like.
And it still won't win.
Well, Parrott has just
goal of the season.
He had no right to score from there. First touch.
Preston make their first change. Ahmad has given Sunderland the lead, but there is a but, of course. With Middlesbrough drawing at the moment, it's not enough. It's not enough. They need Middlesbrough to score. They need Middlesbrough to score, but they're fulfilling their
Blackburn
side
to
of
score as well.
Well, it won't matter. It won't matter if Millwall. It's basically they need Coventry in this equation. Because
welcome to the Sunderland roller coaster.
They would, if Middlesbrough scored, their goal difference and goals scored, it will be better than Coventry, so they take Coventry's place. So, 1-0 to Sunderland.
Anxiety's now up to 7.5.
What about if Blackburn win?
It was on 1
Blackburn's
35 minutes ago.
So bad compared to Sunderland's, it doesn't matter. The key now is Middlesbrough beating Coventry.
Oh, he gave it away.
Is Cannon trying to
what a way to sign off. I'm at the yellow on
into
it.
the Sunderland penalty. Onamar through the middle. It's come through to Onamar in the penalty area. He's turned left foot and a block at the edge of the 6-yard box by Gooch for a corner to Preston.
Another goal would be nice. Another goal would be nice.
Preston 0, Sunderland 1. And
yes, darling.
The corner for Preston.
Yes, Ped.
From the left-hand side.
This is where we've got to be strong.
Hangs in the air. Bauer! Oh, it's a great save on the line from Patterson.
Great save.
Bauer's header straight down. Patterson somehow scoops it in the air. Clears it. It's come back in again and he catches it.
Great save. Go on then. Go on.
What Ped?
Now, out down this left-hand side to Clark.
Come on.
And he's tackled by Story. Or McCann, who slides in.
Anthony Patterson, take a bow.
Great stop. 1-0 still to Sunderland, who need Middlesbrough to score. And now a throw down this left-hand side.
Blackburn are drawing.
So
sorry.
We also could do with a goal at Millwall from Blackburn. It's not all over.
That's what I thought. Blackburn drawing would be as fun.
It will be. I'm just trying to do all the maths in my head here, Benno. It's not easy trying to watch the game and do that at the same time.
I thought he was multi-skilled.
Not this afternoon. That all goes out the window. The ball here now with Pritchard.
Sunderland playing at home, by the way.
Ekwa out to Clark on this left-hand side. Clark now pushing the ball back inside to Ekwa. Now Pritchard. Pritchard, he could go through here. Oh, shoot! Left and he slipped.
Shoot!
He went to take it onto his left and slipped at the wrong moment. And Preston get the ball away here. O'Nien chasing back, and he's fouled at the edge of the area, and it's a free kick.
He's got to book him for that.
On the edge of the penalty area to Sunderland.
Alex Pritchard, you've got to pull the trigger.
So
what's he going to do to him?
Now referee's having a word.
I think it is,
I think it's Delat, wasn't it? That was the player who fouled O'Nien. Has it shown a yellow card to that? Or just spoken to?
Spoken to.
No card for Delat.
Ridiculous.
Not yet, darling.
So the ball now with Patterson.
Will it make your frustration worse if we win today and we still don't get it?
Line. Push through past Onumar in the middle. Back to O'Nien at the edge of the Sunderland.
Oh, no. Anxiety now 10 and 11 now.
In the centre circle. Ekwa trying to win it. Finds Ahmad. Ahmad now with Clark on the left-hand side. Clark into the penalty area. And we've got 2 seconds. Go Pritchard. Let's go! Go on! Turns it into the bottom left-hand corner from 18 less yards, and Sunderland lead 2-0.
Great finish
on the hour. So Sunderland are doing what they have to do. They lead 2-0.
I'm turning this off now. Lads. I'm going to watch the snooker highlights.
In the playoff positions, it is Millwall 3, Blackburn 3.
Blackburn 3, Millwall 3.
On the edge of the penalty area. It's been mainly Blackburn in this second half, but it's 3-0.
So now Sunderland in the playoff picture. Blackburn 3, Millwall 3. Sunderland lead Preston by 2-0. And Middlesbrough Coventry drawing 1-1. So Preston in the playoffs. Sunderland in the playoffs.
Sunderland in the playoffs.
So it's all happening. It's all go.
What a great finish that was from
Preston 0, Sunderland 2. Pritchard, what a finish.
Once again, Pritchard comes on the subs and it's a different team. Let's just pause a second and listen to these Sunderland fans.
Around. Sunderland are up.
Manage the game. That's what you've got to do.
I'll try and do the calculations, but trying to keep an eye on the game at the same time. It's a ball.
Lovely goal as well.
Now with Ahmad on the far
nearly
side.
It's bad.
The situation is, I think, Coventry in
drink.
5th with 70.
No, not yet, darling.
Sunderland leapfrog Millwall on goal difference. Yeah.
The Sunderland fans are going daft. The shirts are going off and everything. So don't be too premature, lads,
Millwall
please.
Team at the moment missing out because they slipped down into 7th place and Sunderland move up into 6th place. So Preston 0, Sunderland 2.
And I do not want you to see on your channel. Oh no! I don't want any more goal alerts at all.
As Ahmad makes a run down the right, Roberts has the ball. He's taking this on. Roberts still going. Roberts in the penalty area. The shot blocked though, and it comes out to Clark. And Clark trying to get the ball down the left. It goes out for a throw to Sunderland. So Clark, drenched in the pouring rain under these leaden skies, but the skies and the atmosphere brightened by that sea of red and white behind Woodman's goal. Preston trailing 2-0. It's level at Borough, it's level at Millwall, and that's enough at the moment to see Sunderland.
Welcome all
Here's
aboard.
Neil in the centre circle.
The roller coaster.
Down the right to Ahmad. Oh, the pass back is blocked. Cut out by Cannon and out for a throw to Sunderland. It's almost now irrelevant.
People are posting, it's all good, never had a doubt. But yeah, right, okay.
It's what happens elsewhere as the ball cleared to Onumar, then down to Cannon on the left-hand side. Great challenge on the right by Hume. Out to Roberts, inside to Ahmad. Now Gelhardt on the halfway line. Trying to find Clark on the left-hand side here.
Get
it! Ball edge of the area. Right foot.
Oh! Jacob, you spiked it. Can you kick Jacob off the channel, lads? Can you kick him off the channel, please?
Going to win this game.
What a goal. What a build-up.
Jack Clark onto his right foot and curls it into the bottom corner. Preston 0, Sunderland 3. Sunderland are doing what they have to do, and they're doing it in style.
Tell you what, they're chasing shadows at the moment, Preston. Great build-up play. Great finish by Jack Clark.
Great stuff from Sunderland. That bank of supporters are in Wonderland.
Where's these 3 goals come from?
They can't do any more.
They
cannot do any more, Sunderland.
They're going to win the game.
They've done their part.
They're going to win the game. They've just got to pray that results stay in their favour elsewhere.
Hey, if Millwall win, you've got to give a standing ovation to the lads today, because this is
they're doing it in style as well.
This has been absolute quality. It's a shame we couldn't fast forward Sky, innit?
So Gooch is coming off, Anderson's coming on.
Is Anderson coming on?
Yeah, that's just giving a bit of height, isn't it, at the back? I mean, job's done, isn't it? I mean, they're going to win the game. And now I suppose it's half an eye on what happens possibly in the playoffs. And of course, at the Den, both teams need to win. Let's quickly go there, Colin White.
Yeah, Millwall have got a corner, but it's an absolute cracker of a game. Millwall 3, Blackburn 3. A draw does neither of these sides any good. We're a couple of minutes ahead of you. We've got 22 minutes plus injury time to go. Millwall were 3-1 up and comfortable.
What
it's now
3-0.
I have no idea
all
what's
3
going to
goals
happen in the final quarter of this game. But one thing I can guarantee is we will keep you posted. 3-0.
3-0 here at Preston to Sunderland. The ball at the back with Bauer for Sunderland, and you wouldn't rule out Sunderland scoring more goals. The mood that they are in,
could be better.
Supporters are in. Here's Ahmad to Gelhardt, back to Ahmad, he tries a shot and it's taken a deflection and taken it back to Woodman, who falls down gratefully to his left to make the save.
Can you ban that, Jacob? He just spoils it with his early goal celebrations.
The halfway line. Back here now to McCann, inside to Ledson, and then here to Story. Of course, the danger is that Coventry and Middlesbrough have got absolutely nothing really to play for now. And just to make things doubly certain,
so is
like
Blackburn, and Blackburn, you know, they need, if they score.
Yeah, it's still on a knife edge, isn't it? Still on a knife edge.
2 minutes, darling.
So now here out to Potts on the right side, swings one up through the middle for Onomar. He's looking for Cannon into the penalty area. O'Nien's on his shoulder. Cannon just flicks it back straight to Aqua though. And out here now to Clark. And Clark on the left.
I do not want anybody to say
Millwall has scored. And Patterson rolls it out to Hume. Wide to Roberts, back to Hume. Back again to Patterson. Out to Ekwa. Ekwa is offside. And offside it if Ahmad was to make contact. But it's come back to Woodman.
They're going to make a substitution, Nick.
Yeah. Anxiety now is off the scale. I need another machine.
Here's Onomar on half.
Swansea 2, West Brom 2. Swansea 2, West Brom 2.
Ben Woodburn's going to come on for Preston. McCann plays the ball back. Ben Woodburn, Welsh international midfielder, signed from Liverpool, yeah.
He's going to be a world beater, wasn't he?
He was, yeah, he was.
We don't want the playoffs, lads, really, do we?
Taking this on through the centre circle.
Luke says we all need to calm down. What do we do?
Delap tries to get it down the left wing to Fernandez.
When you've got Sunderland in your veins, you can
for a goal kick to Sunderland. So here's the substitution. Delap is going off.
Catch it.
So Liam Delap heading back to Manchester City, and Ben Woodburn comes on now with just over 20 minutes to play.
Middlesbrough score. Akpong.
Well, that would be the icing on the cake, wouldn't it? Now the ball back with Anderson here on the left-hand side. Let's quickly go to the Riverside. Simon Pride.
Yeah, it's still 1-1 here. Middlesbrough have been much much better.
Middlesbrough being the much better side, apparently.
Chances for either side. Riley McGree, a long-range effort saved for Middlesbrough. Coventry have just forced a couple of corners, but they're looking a little bit nervous. And Borough are the better team in this second half. Still 1-1.
Still 3-0 here, and a player down in the Sunderland half, a Preston player. I think it's Woodburn, then a challenge on Ekwa.
That's going to be a yellow card.
And the referee, Bobby Madley, strolls back to see what the extent of the problem with Woodburn is.
He's wetting some plaster.
And it's given Sunderland the free kick on that far side. Still pouring with rain here, nobody cares.
I shouted someone scored.
Sunderland leading 3-0. The positions now are Coventry at the moment in 5th place on 70 points, Sunderland in 6th place on 69 points.
I've never ever been so infatuated with Middlesbrough. It's a lovely place, Middlesbrough, isn't it? I think it's so beautiful.
In 8th place because
it's gorgeous, isn't it?
No, they're in 9th place.
I've always had a soft
draw, I think, but,
especially on 20 minutes to go.
The point is, Sunderland are in 6th place at the moment, and it's Millwall who will miss out unless they can find a winner.
Fulham 5, Leicester 1. Oh my God!
Someone will put me right if I'm not right. Neil back to O'Nien, back to Patterson.
What?
Patterson swings the ball down the left. Out it goes, bounces in the rain on the pitch side. It'll be a throw to Preston.
Watmore's gone off apparently.
You'd have thought Sunderland were playing at home, wouldn't you? Mishu's about to come on, as you say, on the far side.
The win.
Come on for Ekwa. You think?
Would be the assumption that it was.
Oh, I tell you what, if Blackburn do get another goal, my God.
He's been sandwiched out. The ball played back to Patterson. He calmly passes it past Woodburn out to Pritchard, and then the ball launched up into the Preston half by Hume. Flag is up. And I think some of them will make the substitution now.
Shoes coming on.
It's Gelhardt.
Everybody take your hay fever tablets. My shoes coming on. So everybody take your hay fever tablets on. A shoes coming on.
To play.
He's done well, Gelhardt. He's led the line well. Yeah. Retention of the ball's been good. The only thing was missing was that finish.
Yeah,
goal
scored.
But his movement's been good.
Well, Sunderland put this game to bed in a devastating 10-minute spell to lead 3-0.
If results still go against us, now, you know, hats off to the lads. Today's been fantastic.
Well, we're just on tenterhooks, aren't we, really, with what happens at the Den, where it's all square at the moment.
They can't do any more than it.
No, they've done everything they can. They've played their part, Sunderland. Yeah. All they can do now is hope. Preston swing a ball down the left wing. Hume will shepherd it out behind, despite the presence of Josh Onumar, who you can see why he's been brought on. Big.
Onumar, yeah. He was at Tottenham.
Surly, yeah.
He was at Spurs.
This is going to be the longest 15 minutes this season, I think.
They signed him from Fulham this year. He's made 2 Premier League appearances this year for Fulham.
But we have to have the attitude at the moment. We are not in the playoffs yet. We're not. There's a long way to go.
The ball back to O'Nien.
I'm not getting my sights saying over 6 because at the minute.
Taps it to Patterson, out to Neil at the edge of the penalty area.
As it stands,
he passes it wide to Hume and forwards to Pritchard. Pritchard trying to get it down to Ahmad. And it's come back at them, and it will bounce behind for a goal kick to Sunderland.
Unfortunately, there's a little bit of, I think they want them to leave here, don't they?
The stewards are just down in front of us.
Because they're cheering, they're not doing any harm at all, are they?
No
harm at all.
Not really caught my eye until I looked to my left and I saw the.
What a sign!
Cheering the goal, cheering on the team. That's all they're doing.
I'll tell you what, Amad Diallo started this off like with that screamer.
So the arguments continue to our left.
Once again, when Pritchard comes off, we're just such a different side.
The ball's gone out. Throw to Sunderland on the far side, just inside the Preston half. Stewart took him up. And they troop off back down the stairs.
Blackburn's just hit the bar, apparently. Blackburn's just hit the bar. Blackburn's all over Middlesbrough.
75 minutes played. And at the moment, sitting 6th in the table. Millwall 7th. Because they are drawing 3-3 with Blackburn. Ball played up towards Woodburn.
But let's not forget, Blackburn have got everything to play for. They need to go for the win. They need to go for it.
And it'll be a free kick to Sunderland in the middle of the Preston North End half, and the stewards are back. And Michu saunters off ahead of Pritchard, and Ekwa, it looks like, will take the free kick for Sunderland in their light blue in driving rain here now. Pummeling down. Short pass from Ekwa, back to Ahmad, back into Hume, and now back to...
It may not happen, so I'm getting excited and I don't care. Final result now, it's a great season, absolutely.
And back to Patterson. Let's quickly go to the den. I understand Blackburn might have hit the bar. Colin White.
They have hit the bar, they've hit the post as well. This game actually is just swinging from end to end every couple of minutes. Blackburn, who looked dead and buried after, to be honest, after 10 minutes of this game, and then certainly at half-time as well, are right back in it. They are not playing like a team that realises...
There will be. I guarantee you now, they will be goals at the Riverside and the Den before full-time. There will be goals.
But they are putting everything into this. Ben Burnett and Diaz, who scored their equaliser, then hit the post a minute later, then his cross was headed towards goal by Dominic Hyam, and it was tipped onto the crossbar. Another Blackburn goal doesn't change the scenario, it just lets every Sunderland fan breathe a little bit more easily. But we've got 11 and a half minutes here to go, plus injury time, and it's still 3-all.
It's still 3-0. Here
11 and a half minutes to play at the Den.
It's looking better and better for Sunderland in some ways, with that news from the Den that Blackburn are the team in the ascendancy. And as Colin says, even if they were to score, they can't actually overtake Sunderland in the equation because their goal difference is so bad in comparison to Sunderland's. It would need a swing of something like 14 goals, I think. Here is Ekwa. Playing the ball down the right for Ahmad. Ahmad on the right-hand side now. He's cutting in on his left-hand side. Pritchard's in then, but the pass is poor. And it's cleared by Ledson.
We're completely bossing this game now. Like, this is just like the West Brom game. Once again, away from home. We show glimpses of a Premier League side away. It's bizarre.
And across here now to Jack Clark. Clark inside to Neil. Michu in the centre circle. And back again to O'Nien, and now to Clark, back
as
to
the Oleas starting
O'Nien.
To go around.
Clark,
and promotion players will be a great
season,
season,
passing
absolutely.
the ball about, and back again to Neil. He swings it over, there's a foul on Neil. Woodburn getting a little bit carried away. Tapped to Neil by O'Nien. Neil rolls it across to Hume. Out wide against Ahmad,
we're absolutely all over them, like.
Who opened the scoring in the 55th minute. 10 minutes later, Alex Pritchard and Jack Clark have made it 3-0. Here is Pritchard on the right wing, down the line, going away, sprinting away into the penalty area on the right-hand side. Roberts onto his left, still going. He's got Michu to pull it back to, but he tried to pull it back. Bauer clears it. A chase back out though for Roberts. He's got it again. He's not giving up. It's like a Jack Russell. He's played it back to Pritchard, back to Ahmad. Behind him is Ekwa. Forwards again to Roberts, through to Michu
like
in the middle.
Yeah.
He finds Neil to his left. Out here on the left-hand side, pushing forwards Anderson. He leaves it for Clark. Clark in the pouring rain, plays it back to O'Nien. Just over 10 minutes left.
Already,
Clark
that was
again,
Mills going to be deducted 2 points for making legal payments.
Pushing it back to Neil, and Neil taps it. Sorry, Hume taps it to O'Nien. Now to Clark, back to O'Nien, across to Hume, and out to Ahmad on the far side, back to Hume, forwards to Pritchard. Just played it behind Ahmad, but he still managed to run onto it, and then a very strong challenge sliding in on the far side was Again, I'm thinking it's Woodburn, isn't
it? You've got to say the game's over, innit?
Yeah,
you know,
Woodburn.
you look at Preston. You look
every
at the
Sunderland fan are not watching the game now.
Woodburn's
they're all on the phones,
because he's
seeing
going in heavily on challenges.
They're anxious. They're all biting the nails, heads in their hands. They're just.
3-0 to Sunderland. Throw on the far side. Roberts will take
it is, but it's not good enough. I want to see 2-1.
Just shy of the halfway line on the right. And we've got 10 minutes left. Preston 0, Sunderland 3, but it's Millwall 3, Blackburn 3.
I keep saying to myself, we've got to do a job here yet. Bloody hell, the 3-0 job done.
So here now, Woodman kick up towards the halfway line, and Woodburn beaten in the air by Ekwa, and now it's dropped in the middle of the Preston half and played across here and brought up to halfway by Story.
Telly says Millwall have made another change, double change.
Back to Bauer, comes back to Bauer again, and then across to Story on this right hand side. Story on the halfway line, slipping it through, and they're looking for a run of cannon, but cut out by O'Nien. Out then from Hume to Pritchard. Pritchard, Onama on his shoulder, absolutely back to Ekwa, and then Neil short to Mishu, back to Neil from Pritchard, across
I'm
to
just waiting
Hume.
for Ant to go. Oh no, the den. I'm just waiting for him.
To Roberts, who drives it back across to Anderson at the edge of his own penalty area. There's no need to needlessly give it away.
I'm just waiting for Ant to go.
Anderson,
oh no!
Back out in midfield. Neil forwards up in the centre circle to Ekwa. He does well until he's sandwiched out, and Ledson gets the ball back to Bauer. And now forwards from Lindsay to Woodburn. Across goes Ahmad. Woodburn again is throwing himself about, but Ahmad's come away with the ball.
And Ahmad now
just pulls it back, pushes it back to Anderson.
I can't settle. How's the anxiety meters? Bloody hell.
Playing it into the middle. Mishu, Sunderland leading 3-0. It's 3-all at the Den. It's 1-all at the Riverside. Sunderland are 6th with 8 minutes to play.
Blackburn going for the win. They are.
Bauer,
I hope nobody scores because then we are in the playoffs.
Down that left-hand side, that left wing. Fernandez plays it back to Lindsay. Liam Lindsay. Forwards again, gets it back again, and back onto halfway. Swung behind Story, he's furious. The ball's come out for a throw to Sunderland halfway inside almost the Preston half.
Teaming down now, isn't it?
It is absolutely teaming. It's been teaming
5 minutes to go
of the second half, hasn't it? And it's a game where you sense Sunderland have done their job. They know it, they've done it. It's all dependent on now what's happening elsewhere.
Abdul Taleb has just said someone will score in the last moments, but question is, it's 100% certain that will happen.
Right. Let's get back to the Den. What's the atmosphere like, Colin?
It's tense. I mean, the game is chaos. Both sides look absolutely shattered after a 46-game season. They are giving the ball away, something terrible, but it also means they are leaving spaces for their opponents as well. We've not had a decent chance in the last 5 minutes. Blackburn have just had a corner that's been cleared away. I just feel there's still a goal left in this one. If it's Blackburn, great, but Millwall are not out of it by any stretch as they try and make their way up to the penalty box, and they get it across. It's a good save from Ainsley Pearce, and Blackburn will clear this one as well. We're slightly ahead of you, 3.5 minutes left, and it's still 3-all.
We have still got 7 minutes at least.
Blackburn scored. Blackburn scored. Oh my fucking god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Broken out into a bit of a scrap, but we've got a goal at the Den. Let's get back there, Colin.
Breathe, everybody breathe.
Oh my god.
4 goals to 3, and Ben Brereton Diaz.
Oh, look at the Sunderland fans, they're going absolutely mental.
He scored his second of the game. They're celebrating in front of their fans. I think their fans ultimately know that that's not going to be enough to take them up. But from 3-1 down, they've come back to lead 4-3, and they might just have secured Sunderland's place in the playoffs in the process.
The scenes here were extraordinary.
Get it, Blackburn!
The was announced. The whole of the bank to our left has just erupted. The news has spread like wildfire. Sunderland are pretty much more than a foot in the playoffs now. Blackburn leading 4-3.
The Sunderland fans are just in disbelief. Look at them all.
3-0 here. Millwall need to score twice in the next few minutes. It's treatment at the moment to Equa, and the Sunderland fans are going wild.
Sunderland fans, oh my God, there's limbs everywhere.
Here, there's going to be a substitution for Sunderland on the far side. There's a smoke bomb thrown onto the pitch behind Freddie Woodman, but Sunderland are now.
Told you Blackburn score. Abdu, tell everything, right?
Assured of a place in the playoffs.
Tell you what, how well with Blackburn done, being 3-1 down.
Oh, there's flares going off in this. There's flares going off in the Sunderland end.
To get in the playoffs.
The thing is, Nick, we would have been kicking ourselves if we didn't get a result here this afternoon. Especially the way Blackburn have come back from being.
Someone said there's at least 35 minutes added on at the 10.
The Aggies coming on for Equa.
How the hell? I tell you what, I was slating Blackburn before saying they've been poor, but you've got to take your hats off to Blackburn for that. Yeah, nice.
And Barr is coming on for Ahmad, and we will see Ahmad again. We will see Gelhardt again, because Sunderland now are virtually assured that they will be in the playoffs, which is a fairy tale in itself. It's a remarkable story, and it's been a remarkable afternoon. So Sunderland at the moment look like it'll be Luton Town in the playoffs. The first leg next Saturday evening, as Preston, as we get underway again, clear. And down
someone's
right
just said what would happen if Preston scored 4 late goals.
Get through. It'll be a 5:30
I don't think so.
Kickoff next Saturday at the Stadium of Light against Luton Town, if things stay as they are, and it's hard to see how Millwall can come back now to score 2 goals. As Barr plays the ball back
Who've we got?
O'Nien, forwards to Neil, and now back Roberts to Mishu, Anderson, Barr on halfway here. Still 3 minutes left here.
This is just not happening.
Last time. And O'Nien.
We love you, Sunderland. We do. We love Sunderland. We do. Oh, Sunderland, we love you.
Into the Preston half. Lays it off to Mishu. Mishu to Barr. And Barr taking this on now on the left to Clark, and then to Barr, back into Pritchard. It's cut out though, but it falls for Roberts.
God, it feels like I'm just in the rear end of Preston.
Back in midfield to Neil, forwards again to Roberts, and Roberts now as McCann tries to get the ball off him, finally slides.
Thanks for sweet FA Middlesbrough. Thank you for nothing.
Sunderland throw, and we're closer and closer and closer to Sunderland confirming that they will be in the playoffs. There's 4 minutes of injury time at the Den, but you'd still argue that's not enough for Millwall.
4 minutes added time at the Den. 4 minutes added time at the Den.
To our left. Remarkable scenes here, just listening to them, and the ball out for another throw.
There's 4 minutes on it.
3-0 Sunderland lead. Onumar trying to dig this one out. Comes back on halfway and back to Bauer in the.
What's the second half? Stats and Sunderland Preston.
It's with Potts now on the right hand side. Back to Story. I think we'll have quite a few minutes of added time here as well, to be honest. But Blackburn, Millwall at the Den is ahead of us, and should finish before.
I can hardly hear you in the chat because of the Sunderland fans.
That Sunderland are in the playoffs against Luton Town. Back comes the ball to O'Nien.
Who's man of the match, would you say?
Luton Town. they could actually, if Middlesbrough score, they would swap places, I think, with Coventry as well, so they would be playing Middlesbrough. But at the moment, it's 1-1 at the Riverside, and out comes Woodman to slide and catch the ball and jog across the back of his
Millwall will be gutted. Millwall will be absolutely gutted. 3-1. Imagine that. 3-1.
Soaked through on the touchline on the far side. Pritchard trying to chase down a pass back to Woodman.
I'm going to go for Ahmad Diallo because he started off.
Inside to Ledson, and then down the right wing, Anderson is going to cover that, and it rolls out for a throw to Sunderland. We'll have 4 minutes here. Minimum 4 minutes here. Let's quickly go to the Riverside. Simon Pride.
It's still 1-1 here, the game rather fizzling out, to be honest with you. The Coventry fans celebrated when they heard that Blackburn had scored again. That took a bit of pressure off them just in case they concede. Not many chances really in this second half. Much better than they had been in the first half, but really this game now is very probably going to be irrelevant, but it's 1-1 now.
And the Den, Colin White.
Yeah, Millwall are still having a right go at this. We've got just over 1 minute left of the 4 minutes of injury time. It's just about into the tipping point where even one more wouldn't give them enough time to get a second. There's a long throw from the far side is into the box, and Blackburn, who have cleared dutifully time and time again, do it once more. They've brought on a couple of centre-halves for a couple of their forward players as well. 60 seconds to go. Millwall still trying, but still 4-3 down.
And here, still 3-0 to
nice little cheeky smirk from Tony Mowbray and his assistant.
Pushed out to Neil. Back to O'Nien, over to Hume, Roberts on the right-hand side.
Don't forget, lads, hit the thumbs up and hit the subscribe button as well.
It's all a case of just waiting for that final whistle.
And don't forget to hit the subscribe button to the Anthem Atkins channel as well.
Patterson again playing it out from the back, over to the right-hand side, and out then to Neil. Onamar on his shoulder, back into the penalty area. It's cleared again, up into the centre circle, and Potts turning away, pushing it through. There'll be an enormous roar from our left when it's confirmed.
I'm going to watch this game again
tonight. That Millwall have lost, and that must be imminent from what Colin said about them being in the last 60 minutes, and it's full time at Millwall. Sunderland, let the fans do it for you.
Millwall players are sitting on their arses.
In the playoffs.
They're dejected.
They have beaten Preston, or they will be beaten Preston in the next minute or two. Blackburn have beaten Millwall 4-3, and as a consequence, Sunderland
I'm going to enjoy getting stuck into that Indian tonight.
At the moment, it's looking pretty certain they'll play Luton. That's not 100% sure yet, because there's still time at Middlesbrough for Middlesbrough to score again, but from what Pridey said, that looks unlikely. Sunderland then capping off a remarkable season in the Championship with an appearance.
Come on, were you really expecting 3-1 down Blackburn? Were you really expecting anything else? But that's it, it's over for us.
Trying to walk the ball into the Sunderland penalty area, but you can see
3-1 down. I was 100% smacking the knees. That's it. Season's over. We deserve to be there, says Terry.
Pritchard dinking one over the top, looking for Clark's run.
If you're happy and you know, hit the subscribe button and
the
thumbs up. Thank you very much.
Taps the ball away to Potts.
Put our Anthem Atkins channel as well. And give him
inside, gives the ball away to Mishu. Mishu now in towards Roberts. It's cleared. Barr trying to get on the end of it. Potts clears it. I make it 25 seconds left, and Deepdale is going to erupt in the Bill Shankly stand. As Barr taps it back to Neil. It's a tired Neil that pushes it back to a tired Hume.
Let me get you, darling.
Who finds O'Nien, who's wearing the captain's armband. And here's Barr.
I was looking forward to the season ending today. That's it, no more anxiety.
It's finished. Swansea 3, West Bromwich Albion 2. Listen to that. It's confirmed that least as far as the Sunderland fans are concerned, it's confirmed. It's finished 3-0, and Sunderland are on their way, possibly,
Millwall fans, says Doug.
An historic second successive playoff final at Wembley. But we'll have to wait and see. Luton Town, it looks like, beckons next Saturday evening, 5:30 at the Stadium.
Sunderland fans.
Remarkable scenes here. No one has left the Bill Shankly stand. The players all run down.
Will Amad Diallo be playing in the playoffs?
The coaching staff join them on the pitch. The substitutes have all run back on. Incredible.
It's fantastic. And the best thing about it is the quality, Nick. You know, you look at the 3 goals
lads,
scored this afternoon.
Can we get promoted this season? Can we do it? Can we dare to dream?
It was a little bit open, but once we got our foot, got ahead, it was only Sunderland. And we just had to hope that the results went our way, and they have done.
Full time at the Riverside as the Preston players troop off. It's finished there 1-1. But here, it's all about Sunderland. Remarkable scenes. That bank of red and white for the players, O'Neill and Leachley.
I tell you what, hats off to Tony Mowbray.
You know, Nick, you've got to, you know, we talk about the players, it's been fantastic, they've been excellent, you know, we've overachieved, you've got to say. But Tony Mowbray, you know, and when I mentioned Tony Mowbray, I think even at half-time when they had to make changes, he's made the right decision. He's made the right decision. He's put Gooch in as a left wing-back. You know, when we had to make changes, when he had to bring substitutions on, when he had to change the shape of the team, he's not afraid to do that. And, you know, you've got to say, you know, I've just been talking to Neil MacDonald behind me. He says, wow, Sunderland. I said, this is how they've been playing, performing all season. I said, they like to watch.
Absolutely incredible. I'm not sure what Preston, if they were planning to come out and have a final march around the stadium, I think they've abandoned that. This stadium, Deepdale, is Sunderland's this afternoon. Away to our left is a picture to behold as every one of those 6,000 Sunderland fans is just there enjoying the moment. Tony Mowbray is out there enjoying it as well.
And sometimes, you know, Preston
smile on.
Yeah, Preston have got to hold their hands up. They've been beaten by a quality team today.
Let's not forget, you know, the game changed once again when Pritchard came on. We had more options.
At times, we said time and time again, pull the trigger. He tried to walk the ball in. But the 3 goals we scored this afternoon, 3 quality goals.
A penny for Kirill Louis-Dreyfus's thoughts just down below us in the director's box. I wonder what he's thinking now about the next few weeks. The Sunderland directors, owners, staff watching on as the players just walking.
Did we beat Preston 3-0 at the stadium as well?
They head back down to the dressing rooms.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. Coventry end the season 5th on 70 points. Sunderland 6th on 69 points. Millwall 7th on 68 points. And then
Millwall have gone to 8th.
It's academic, isn't it? I think if Blackburn have leapfrogged over.
When will Luton game be played? Saturday,
Millwall,
I think.
Blackburn have finished above Millwall.
Duncan Watmore.
The main thing is Sunderland have finished 6th. Sunderland will play Luton Town next Saturday afternoon at 5:30 at the Stadium of Light. And this fairy tale, it's a story that keeps on giving.
But you've got to say, Nick, we've come here, and to be fair, we've come here with a little bit of confidence because we know
Millwall
how well
look absolutely
Sunderland are playing, but we also know how well they play away from home. You know, they've been doing this all season. You know, so to be fair, we weren't surprised You know, we knew that they had to get a result, and the confidence in the players, we've seen that before.
Don't know why,
you know,
what
when
it is.
they first arrived at the stadium,
they
were relaxed,
Three at the back who went more,
you know, we keep talking about Ahmed, we talk about Roberts, you talk about Clark, and we say
3 goals in 10 minutes.
They perform,
3 goals in 10 minutes, wasn't it?
You win the game, and that's what we got this afternoon.
So the players head off, the fans don't. It's finished here at Deepdale. Preston North End 0, Sunderland 3.
Total Sport.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Dominic James back in the BBC Radio Newcastle studio. Sunderland are in the Championship playoffs. Preston 0, Sunderland 3. The Black Cat season isn't over just yet. Give us a...
That is just crazy. I'm just looking at the table now. That's a crime. We should not have made that. Bloody hell. The second leg's following May the 16th at Kenilworth at Sunderland. They back up to the Riverside Borough against Coventry and the final from Wembley Stadium on May the 27th. All of that is on Sky Sports. We'll keep you abreast of all the twists and the turns. You're welcome. Because the playoffs, quite simply, is the best place to watch. 13th of May, Sunderland v Luton, 5 p.m. These two are speechless for now. Yeah. Saturday. Saturday. You've got a Coventry City side rising from the ashes and a chance to get back into the Premier League, and a very young Sunderland side. 4 seasons in League One, 1 back in the Championship, just a few games. Sunderland Middlesbrough final. Oh my God, it's on the cards, isn't it? Screwfix sponsors Sky Sports coverage of the EFL. Let's get to it. I won't turn my back on any victim. There's got to be a full house at the stadium, right, aren't there? Thank God. I thank God Ant's gone. For God's sake, thank God he's gone. Yeah. He's me and Jacob saying there's no chance, there's no chance. I don't know. You welcome in? Oh, that's just been absolutely crazy. When will we announce the playoff trial? It's already been announced. You guys, we are playing Luton Town next Saturday. The joys of football. I mean, how did you feel? Barcode's Newcastle's down London at the same weekend, says Norman. It could be interesting. How did you feel, Lord, Jacob, when Millwall were 3-1 up? Same as you. I was just thinking like, oh well, never mind. Good attempt, well done. I would definitely tie down neighbours' curtains, absolutely. God, can you imagine that? Sunderland and Middlesbrough supporters in Trafalgar Square the same night. That would be interesting. Oh God, what are you doing tonight, Jacob? I don't know. I might rewatch the game at some point. That's just mad. Barmy. Absolutely balmy. Right, I'm going to sign off anyway. Enjoy the rest of your day. Jacob, lad. See you later. You too, man. Ta-ra. Oh, dear me. West Ham happy. Let's just be mad. I'm just in disbelief. Oh my God. After facing off in the northeast, the Black Cats will travel to Bedfordshire on Tuesday, the 16th of May, as the sides go head-to-head at Kenilworth Road. It's going to be interesting, isn't it?
You through some of their results as well. Now it finished Barrow 0, Stevenage 1, Bradford City 1, Leyton Orient 1, Colchester United 0, Mansfield Town 2, Grimsby 1, AFC Wimbledon 0, Harrogate Town 1, Rochdale 1, Newport County 2, Crewe Alexandra 2, Salford City 0, Gillingham 1, Stockport County 1, Hartlepool United 1, Sutton United 1, Carlisle United 1, Swindon Town 2, Crawley Town 1, Tranmere Rovers 0, Northampton Town 1, Walsall 2, Doncaster Rovers 1. There was one game in the Premier League at 3 o'clock, Fulham versus Leicester City, 5-3. Fulham winning that game. And the only other game in the Premier Leagues today are Brighton versus Everton. That kicks off at 5:30, and then the late kickoff in the Premier League today is at 8 o'clock. Nottingham Forest versus Southampton.
Total Sport.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
But today our focus is on Sunderland, and they are in the Championship playoffs. Sunderland 0, Sunderland 3. Goals from Amad Diallo, Alex Pritchard and Jack Clark. Dominic James in the BBC Radio Newcastle studio. Gary Bennett, the former Sunderland captain and centre back, Gary Bennett at Deepdale for us on commentary duty today. And Gary, welcome back. You managed to catch your breath?
Just about. But what an excellent performance it was this afternoon. When called upon, to produce the goods.
They certainly did. What's the atmosphere like in the ground? Because have they stopped partying in that away end just yet?
No, don't be silly. They're still behind. They're still waiting. Tell you what, they've travelled in the thousands, but they've done that all season. You know, travelled in the thousands, well supported the players right throughout. And I tell you what, they've got the rewards this afternoon. You know, we scored 3 goals, but I tell what it was, it's the quality of the goals. And we've been doing that all season.
Yeah, give us a call tonight on Total Sport, 0800 234 6565. You can send us a text 81333. Start your message with letters BBC. We're also on WhatsApp 08000 321 333. Again, start your messages with the letters BBC. We're on Twitter as well. It's at BBC Newcastle. Gary, just wanted to talk quickly about Amad. What a huge impact he had in that game, and obviously got that crucial goal.
Yeah, not just in this game, but this season. You know, he's a player who can change games, and we've seen that this afternoon. You know, the goal which he scored, you've got to see it. A fantastic strike. Goalkeeper had no chance, and you know, I've got to say, Woodman has made 3 or 4 fantastic saves this afternoon. He had no chance with Ahmed's goal.
Absolutely. And then, of course, Patterson as well. I wanted to mention Anthony Patterson. He made a couple of crucial saves before when it was 0-0 as well.
He made a great save. Great save to keep the ball out. But, when called upon, Patterson's come up with the goods. And you've got to understand or realise that Sunderland have had injury on top of injury on top of injury, but we've always found a way to win games. This afternoon, Sirkin had to come off. We ended up playing Lyndon Gooch as a third centre-back. We must have had the smallest defensive centre-backs in the league this season.
Yeah, I mean, when you seen Gooch going to play as that centre-back, you thought, it's not going to be our day today, but then obviously you see results from elsewhere, and then Ahmad gets his goal, and then there was a real togetherness in that second half from Sunderland.
Well, that's what they've had all season, a togetherness. Yeah, and Lyndon Gooch goes in at centre back, Pritchard comes on, and I tell you what, you play to Pritchard's strengths, and he'll make things happen. And the couple of things which we build-up play today was fantastic to watch, and it was Pritchard. There was one where they were chasing shadows at one time, Preston, and Pritchard tried to be, shall we say, too clever, and sometimes that's what we have been, trying to be too clever by walking the ball into the net, and he should have scored. But when he did get the opportunity later on, I tell you what, the goalkeeper, he just give him the eyes and put it in the far corner.
Yeah. Brad is our first Sunderland caller on the line this evening. You can give us a call as well, 0800 234 6565. Good evening, Brad.
Good evening, Dominic.
You must be very happy after that.
Gary Bennett. I've said it for a week. I said it from the start of the season that we were getting there in the last few weeks, Gary.
You did.
The last few weeks, I did. I mean, I'm a bit disappointed because I predicted 5th, so I'm 1 place out. But hey, what a day that was. I've got no fingernails left. I'm going to have to get my blood pressure taken because I don't think I could cope with another day like that. But what a performance, Gary. Just the performance itself, if that was going to be if it was all things go our way and that was going to be the last performance of the season, it was just a complete performance, especially that second half.
Yeah, and again, Brad, we're not just talking about today's game. I'm talking about all season. That Sunderland, I tell you what, have been a joy to watch, and we've got a lot more admirers who, for instance, this afternoon most probably have been sat in front of the box to watch Sunderland and the way they've gone about the games, and they've produced the goods today. And again, it's the quality of goals which we scored this afternoon.
In particular, Jack Clark's goal. I know Ahmad was tasty on the eye, Pritchard was, but even the John Goodman on Sky was saying, this is just what Sunderland do all season. 1, 2, 3 passes, we're breaking away and we've scored. It was just a fantastic goal, that third one. And I did say this morning, I'm not going to try and say I'm Mystic Meg or anything, but I said if Sunderland get in, we'll go all the way. I just believe there's always that one team. Forest done it last year, came out of nowhere, and there's that one team that's going in the bit of form that team is the one that gets over the line.
Well, the thing that you've got to look at as well, Brad, is that we're in the playoffs now. Which team who would want to play Sunderland?
No one.
Exactly. Nobody will be looking forward to playing Sunderland because they know what Sunderland's all about. We played Preston today. Yeah, you look at the first 45 minutes, it was a bit open, end to end. But in the second half, once we got that goal, Preston sort of was chasing shadows.
Okay, darling. Well, the old saying goes, they were on the beach, weren't they? They didn't know what to do, but credit to the lads. Credit to Tony Mowbray as well. I don't know what shape he was playing second half. I think when they came out with Sirkin's injury, I think we only had 2 defenders at one point. I think he was playing a back 2.
No, well, he put Lyndon Gooch as the third centre-back, believe it or not. Big Lyndon.
It was just incredible, Gary. Absolutely incredible. And look, the fans down there, I can't imagine what it's like being there. I wish I was. But
back in 2 seconds, guys.
Just the atmosphere, what you could hear on the telly, it was unbelievable. Now let's go into next Saturday. There's a 5 o'clock kick-off at home to Luton. Let's fill the stadium and hopefully put this home form right. And then, look, the way the playoffs have fell, us finishing 6th, second leg away from home. Hey, I fancy us there as well. And Wembley, technically that's an away game, so bring on the big boys next year, Gary, I'm going to say.
Excellent, Brad. Well done.
Brad, thank you very much for your phone call this evening. Brad, give us a phone call on 0800 234 6565. You can as well. You can send us a message on WhatsApp 08000 321 333. Also text us 81333, starting messages with the letters BBC. This is from Ryan on WhatsApp. He says, Gary, what a season. The manager leaving, the injuries, players being recalled, such as an inexperienced young team, and we do it. To think people didn't want Mowbray in because where he's from, or the blip after the Stoke defeat at home. There is a never say die spirit, players who fight for the badge. It's emotional to have this team. That's from Ryan in Sunderland. And Gary, I guess they fought to the very end today.
They did indeed, and again, it's a joy to come and watch Sunderland. To support Sunderland, and I give a lot of credit to Tony Mowbray, the way he's got that team spirit, that belief. We're not the biggest team, but somehow we cope. But it's the way we cope. We make teams look second best all over. And that's the ability what we've got. We've got belief in that ability, and you've got game changers, and we're not just talking about one player. A couple of 2-3 seasons ago, we were talking about a player, and that would have been Aidan McGeady. Today, you look at the team now, we've got 5 or 6 game changers who can come on and make things happen. We talk about creativity. That's something which we've been lacking, but now we've got it.
Yeah. This is from Stephen in Sunderland. He says, what a cracking achievement. Remember, we finished 5th in League One last year. We always find a way, even when there's 100 reasons not to. So proud. I mean, Benno, this season they've had so many different things to put up with, injuries to key players as well. But like Stephen said there, they've always found a way.
I think the only downfall is going to be for Sunderland is that we're going to run out of players. As simple as that. We're running out of players.
You're going to have to get your boots back on, Benno.
Exactly. We might have ended up playing with 10 men because, I would imagine that injury room is full at the present. I think they have to build another injury room, a treatment room.
Yeah, they are piling up. Of course, Lyndon Gooch going to centre-back this afternoon. Benno, how did he get on playing there?
Who's Gooch?
Yeah.
But you know what you're going to get.
It's probably one of the only positions he hasn't played yet.
That's right. And you look at, we talk about Gooch, but you look at the likes of, obviously, Luke O'Nien. We know what Luke O'Nien's about. Trey Hume, he's been excellent. And overall, the team have. You ask him, Aqua, that's his best play. Best game today, Aqua. He was big, he was strong. And the only thing he did wrong today was not score. And he had a fantastic opportunity. All he had to do was slide it in. It was a fantastic build-up.
This is a message from Harry in Easington Colliery. You can send us a message as well, 08000 321 333 on WhatsApp. He says, good evening, lads. I would just like to congratulate Sunderland and Tony Mowbray. What a fantastic achievement on reaching the playoffs. The team need fear nobody. They can beat anyone on their day. And what a story it would be after the misery of 2 successive relegations and 4 seasons in League One. To get 2 successive promotions would be unbelievable. Love the show and Nick and Gary's commentary as well. Cheers, lads.
Yeah, and again, Dom, you got to look at it overall, over the season. Sunderland are not lucky to be where they are. They deserve to be where they are. And that's over the season. And no team will be saying, Sunderland lucky to get in the playoffs. They are not lucky to get in the playoffs.
Yeah, this is from Paul in Canada. He says, we certainly won't be going into the playoffs as favourites. However, of the 4 teams, we must have to be the informed team. Haven't lost since the 15th of March and 3 wins, 2 draws in the last 5. Amazing effort by the whole team today. Let's finish the job.
Yeah, it'd be the important thing is that we've got to get players back from fitness, from injury, and hopefully it's not been a bad injury to Sirkin. We'll need him back, especially for his height, but somehow we'll find a way. He'll be able to turn a team out against Luton, that's for sure.
He might have to play himself, Tony Mowbray, the way things are going. But yes, do keep your messages coming in on WhatsApp 08000 321 333. Send us a normal text as well, 81333. Start in your messages with the letters BBC. You can also give us a phone call as well. Come on and have a chat to Gary Bennett. The number's 0800 234 6565. It's what Gus has done this evening. Good evening, Gus.
Good evening, Dominic.
You're through to Gary Bennett.
Good evening, Gary.
Hello, Gus. How are you?
Hello, Gary. Gary,
Yep.
only Sunderland can do this to a human being.
What's that? Say that again. Sorry, Gus, I missed you.
Yeah, I'm saying only Sunderland can do this to a human being.
Yes.
Yeah. It's I don't know, Gary. It's anyhow, Gary. It's just like you say. Listen to the commentary. It's you get used to it, but you never take away the nervousness on games like this. It was, but I thought when we got to half time, I was quite confident that we would go on and beat them, especially kicking to our supporters, because we've always done that in the second half of away games this season. And the fans were fantastic. You know what I mean? Fantastic team spirit by the lads. We got a little bit of help today from Blackburn, but we had a job to do, and the lads did it.
They did indeed, and we spoke about it just before kick-off. When the players arrived at the ground and they came onto the pitch, and they were all, you can see that they were all relaxed, and the only worry was maybe they were too confident. But we knew, especially playing away from home, that we were capable of getting a result.
Yeah. I mean, like you say, Gary, like you say, the second half, I always felt confident that if we could get one, we would get another one, because, we did the job at half time. It was 0-0, and we were always still in the game, Gary. And just, like you say, you just never know what's going to happen to the ground. But it's gone in our favour, but we deserve it, Gary, because we've played some fantastic football all season.
I'm in shock,
and
can't
we
believe
another
what I
chance,
witnessed.
you never know.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, Gus,
I'm a Diallo the GOAT.
Okay, you look at the Millwall Blackburn result, okay, the Middlesbrough Coventry result, but we would have been kicking ourselves if we would have come off the pitch this afternoon at 4:45, not getting a result, knowing that Blackburn had beaten Millwall.
Yeah. Well, Gary, when we were free, when we were freeing up, obviously we were going to win the game. And then, like you say, when it was about 2 minutes to go at the Millwall game, I just couldn't take any more. I ended up going down the allotment site talking to the cabbages.
Did they answer you back, Gus?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I had to get back up and listen to the full-time score. I can't tell. I must be going mad, Gary.
Yeah, excellent, Gus.
It has this effect on you, doesn't it, supporting someone?
Gus, do you fancy them in the playoffs?
Well, yes, I think we've got to. At the moment, we're not the favourites, Dominic, but we're an unknown now, aren't we? We can go with a free shot at it all, and we've got the players to do it. It's just all on the day now, isn't it? Who can hold the nerve in both games, and you just never know, Dominic. I'm hoping so. Yeah, we've got to believe now, haven't we?
Yeah.
Gus, thank you very much for your phone call this evening. You can give us a phone call as well, 0800 234 6565. And just a reminder then, Sunderland will play Luton next Saturday the 13th of May against Luton at the Stadium of Light in a 5:30 kickoff. The reverse leg at Luton will be on the Tuesday the 16th. It will be an 8 o'clock kickoff down at Luton, and the other playoff semi-final is between Middlesbrough and Coventry. We will be heading back to the phone lines in just a moment. You can give us a call as well. Come on, have your say with Gary Bennett, 0800 234 6565. We'll be talking to Sunderland fan Paula next.
We are your local BBC. We are driven by an absolute compassion to make a difference.
Together, we can make a difference.
Realise the power of friendship.
Wonderful.
This says from your friends at BBC Radio Newcastle.
Brilliant. You are absolutely out.
You mean such a lot to us. Our listeners are our friends.
Together, we can make a difference.
Absolutely amazing.
We can make things better.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Dominic James back in the BBC Radio Newcastle studio. Gary Bennett, the former Sunderland captain and centre-back, Gary Bennett is at Deepdale taking your phone calls this evening. Give us a call tonight, 0800 234 6565. Send us a message as well on WhatsApp, 08000 321 333. Text 81333. Start your messages with the letters BBC. Paula is next up on the line. Give us a call. Good evening, Paula.
Hello, Dom. Hello, Gary.
Paula. Hello, how are you?
I'm fine. I've just come down off the ceiling right now. It was, like Gus said, it got so painful. We think, are we going to manage it? Are we not? But we have so much heart in our team that it was almost a foregone conclusion that we would get through, I think.
Yeah, and I think it's a joy to watch Sunderland play at the present moment.
Definitely.
The football, the way they move the ball. In fact, it gets to the point sometimes we overplay.
Yes.
Don't we? Sometimes we try to walk the ball into the net, but at other times when it comes off, it's a joy to watch.
It certainly is. I mean, last week when Roberts scored that magnificent goal, and we didn't win, which that was just a bit of a pig for us. But it shows that we are really good at scoring at any time. We are fabulous at it. And I think it's going to be great when we have to play against Luton, that their team, and if we get to the finals, which would be fantastic as well, they are going to know what sort of setup we've got, because we haven't got a proper team as such. We haven't got a striker, we haven't got half the defence, so they don't know who we're going to put where, which is brilliant.
Yeah, and you just mentioned about that goal which Roberts scored. How important now you think that point was?
Oh, definitely. I think any time we score, that gives us belief again that we are going to get somewhere.
Yeah, just imagine if we didn't get that point last week, where we would be.
We would be down in the doldrums. And I think even though at the start of it all, it was just saying, well, as long as we are in the Championship and we're not wanting to get any further, that is not how we play, is it? We play to win all the time.
And it's good to see, isn't it? Especially when you go away from home. We don't set ourselves up to, shall we say, get a point. We set ourselves up to get to win the game, because we've got players who are game winners.
Definitely. And the thing about that is, it is the worst thing ever to do, to try and say we are going to go to get a point, because if you go to try and get a point, you always end up losing. I think most of the time people end up losing.
Yeah, and again, we've got so much attacking threats going forward. It's not a case of stop Roberts. Okay, if you stop Roberts, you've got Ahmed. If you stop Ahmed, you've got Clark. If you stop Clark, you've still got Geldar. We've got so many options, and then you've got your midfield players who are good on the ball. You've got Pritchard who I thought was excellent in that second half when he came on as a sub. So we've got players who can create and score goals.
Yes, all we need now is Patterson to be able to score as well, and then we've got a good team who can all score.
Yes, indeed.
Paula, just quickly, fancy Sunderland to win the playoff semi-finals against Luton?
I do actually now, because Luton haven't been the best all the way through, and I think it's like last year when we were in the playoffs to get into the Championship. We are playing the best of the teams first. I mean, the best of the teams that I think we can beat. I think we've got a harder task against either Middlesbrough or come on, what are they called? I really don't think that we're going to do worse than playing against Fulham first, because I think they are the team that are easy to be beaten out of them all.
Paula, thank you very much for your phone call this evening. You can give us a call as well, 0800 234 6565. To Andrew then, who gives us a call, who is outside Deepdale, who's been to the game this afternoon. Good evening, Andrew. Is Andrew there? We don't appear to have Andrew. We'll aim to get him back up and running. Benno, though, I wanted to quickly have a quick talk about Tony Mowbray and the job that he's done this season. When he took over, when Alex Neil left, I guess no one would imagine that this would be the outcome at the end of the season.
No, nobody's seen this coming. Nobody's seen this coming. But, you know, he's a man who believes in football. He's mostly came in, he's looked at the quality of the players we've got in the team, and he's mostly thinking, wow, what I can do with these. And the way his man management has been fantastic, not just on the field but off the field as well. The way he goes about the games, the substitutions he's made, the shape of the team, the selection of the team, he's been spot on this season, and long may it continue.
Yeah, do keep your messages coming in as well. We'll aim to get Andrew back on the phone as soon as we can. This message is from Steve. He says, another fantastic performance by a young group of players, totally playing today. Playing the second leg at Luton is probably to our advantage as well. Great achievement. Do you think that suits Sunderland, playing Luton in the second leg away?
Well, you know, it's a two-leg. You know, again, yeah, we can get a great result in the first leg, but, you know, it's all about the second leg, and you've got to say, away from home, we are very, very strong because teams come at us and they leave space behind which we can capitalise on.
Now to finish the job.
And Ben, just a quick one as well. Alex Neil, do you think he'll be regretting his decision to walk away now?
That's the past. That's the past. That's his thoughts. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, we've just got to keep looking ahead. You know, Tony Mowbray's come along, and you've got to say he's developed and improved the team as we've gone. You know, what's gone on in the past is gone on. We've just got to forget about it. It's a waste of time bringing it up.
Okay, we'll move on then, Benno. We'll move on to a message from Ben in Bentley. He says, what a turnaround in fortunes for our great club, but a tragedy if injuries tripped us up in the final hurdle. That's from Mac in Darlington.
Yeah, and again, that's going to be our biggest hurdle, the injuries. You know, there's only so many we can, shall we say, have. I keep mentioning, and yeah, it sounds funny that, you know, we're running out of players, but we basically are. You know, we've got a so-called made-up back four as it stands at the present moment.
Yeah, and just a quick one from Dave in West Auckland as well. He says, great effort from the Black Cats playoffs, and we didn't even have a centre-back or a forward for most of the season as well. They have done remarkably well, Sunderland, bearing in mind that a right-back and a winger were playing at the centre-back today. Gelhardt, who isn't probably naturally a number 9 as well.
Mm-hmm. That's right. So you look at the shape of the team, at times we've had to change it, sometimes we play with a flat back four, sometimes we play with a 3, but what Tony Mowbray's been able to do is that the players who's come in have been, shall we say, versatile. They've been able to adapt into different positions, and maybe Lyndon Gooch is a prime example of a player who can play right, he can play left, he can play wide, he can play in midfield, he can play as a striker, he played as a centre-back today. Luke O'Nien is another player who does the same. You know, you put Luke O'Nien in the team, and I think that's what we talk about is in regards of team spirit. When they've had to make changes, when they've had to adapt, they have done. There's nobody, you haven't seen any players who body language tells you they're not happy in what they're doing. They just get on with it.
A huge credit must be said for those players that stepped up today. I mean, Hume's done it for a while now. He's probably, again, a remarkable season from him. He hasn't, at the start of the season, couldn't get a game, and now all of a sudden he was probably the named defender among those back 3.
Yeah, definitely so. But again, if you're a footballer and you like to play football, you like to be in this team. Because you know what the team's all about. They like to play. They like to pass the ball. There's good movement. You want to be involved. You enjoy playing, and you can see that the players enjoy playing football. And that's what it's all about.
This message is from Lee in Lancaster. He says, whatever happens in the playoff, it's been an excellent season given key players being out injured. The rest have stepped up. I'm very proud. And I guess that's the overwhelming feeling of people walking out of Deepdale today from that away, and that immense sense of pride from that the team have given the fans this season.
That's right, and again, you know, I keep talking about the supporters, especially away from home. They've travelled in the thousands, but they've travelled in belief. You know, they've got faith in the team. They know that they're going to go in and put in a performance which they've never let them down. But also, on the other side of it, Dom, is that the players who we've got on loan have most probably seen or they feel and they think, I want to be part of this. And if they get an opportunity again, you know, to come out on loan, they most probably want to come back to Sunderland.
Yeah, just a quick bit of housekeeping. We are having troubles with our phone lines at the moment, so if you are trying to give us a call, we are having a few tech issues our end where we're unable to get the calls.
Too many.
I think that's what happens. It's actually crashed our software, Benno. So we can't.
That's what it is.
We can't even. I'm trying to load my screen up, and I can't even load the screen. So it's me and you at the minute, Benno, we are on air until about 6 o'clock. So do keep your WhatsApps coming in as well. I'll put as many messages as I can. We're also going to hopefully in a few minutes hear from from the Sunderland head coach Tony Murray, who's been speaking to Nick Barnes. Just a few other points to mention then, Benno. In the midfield today, Ekwa, you mentioned him before. When he came in January, maybe was seen maybe as a player for, you know, the next few seasons, but again, he's come in and stepped up as well. He has indeed. It's taken time to get him up and running, but you can see today he was excellent today. You know, strength, strong, you know, that combination in there. And again, we don't talk a lot about Dan Neil, you know, what he's had to take on board. You know, when the likes of, we've missed Corey Evans, all of a sudden, you know, he's had a lot on his shoulders, you know, in regards of sitting in there, getting on the ball, making things happen, and he's done a superb job in there, Dan Neil. Absolutely, especially for a young lad. Yeah, I mean, it is hard to forget, you know, that just a couple of seasons ago he was just making his way into the Sunderland side, wasn't he? That's right, and you know, and again, you look at the age of the team. You know, all these young players, and again, you know, you go back to that old saying. You know, if you're good enough, you're old enough. Yeah. And these players here, they've got fantastic ability, and it doesn't matter what age you are. If you're good enough, and you can, in regards of Tony Mowbray, can handle the ball, you've got a good opportunity to play. Yeah, and I guess what's different about Sunderland this season to previous ones is that there's been a bit of more togetherness about the team. I've mentioned it before, but in previous seasons there's maybe been, I don't know, a bit of in the dressing room. There's maybe been a little bit of divide between maybe senior players, and even in League One, I guess you could say it in there as well. But this season seems different. There seems to be a real togetherness about the whole setup at Sunderland, doesn't there? And that's what happens at clubs, and good clubs who are doing well. It's about a togetherness, and that's not just on the field, it's off the field as well. You've got to have a good team spirit. If you've got a good team spirit, you've got a chance, because everybody will look after each other's back. And that's what you have here. They've got faith in each other. They've got faith when they pass the ball that they can handle the ball. Yeah, just a reminder then, if you are trying to give us a phone call this evening, we are having a few tech problems, so do send your messages in, because we can receive your messages on WhatsApp and text. So the numbers that you need on WhatsApp is 08000 321 333 on WhatsApp. Send us a text 81333 as well. Just a quick one. This is from John. He says, well done to all the team at Radio Newcastle for the entertainment all season. Loved it all. Well, it's not over just yet, Benno, is it? No, not at all. As I said, we still, you know, listen, we're ticking box, which, to be fair, if you would have said at the start of the season, that wouldn't have been there for us. But we've gone on, and I'm talking about the team itself. You talk about the injuries which we've had. We've not moaned. He hasn't cried or anything. He hasn't said that we need another centre half, or we need a centre forward, or we're using it as an excuse. They've just got on with it and just dealt with the situation. And I think it was summed up this afternoon at half time. We've had to make changes, and he's looking around and he's thinking, what do I do? So what does he do? He puts Lyndon Gooch as a left centre back, brings on Pritchard, and has faith and said, look, if we win the ball, get the ball to the likes of Pritchard, and he'll make things happen. And he certainly made that difference in the second half. Let's hear from the Sunderland head coach then, Tony Mowbray, who has been speaking to BBC Radio Newcastle Sunderland commentator Nick Barnes.
Tony, what a quite remarkable afternoon.
Yeah, I think we started a bit sloppy today. Too many turnovers of the ball, but we grew into the game. I think it was like a basketball game for staff. It was, we had not harsh words, but we needed to control the game better, and yet it's difficult when you haven't got a natural centre half really playing there who's not used to organising people around them. We were just playing really and a bit naive for staff and let them have too many chances when they maybe shouldn't have been given them chances. So but listen, we grew into the game. We became more confident. We scored on the back of the first goal, I think, which was again, it's not the first time Ahmed's done that this season, of course. But yeah, listen, happy. I'm delighted for the supporters behind the goal. It's like it's an incredible scenario to see the people of Sunderland enjoying football so much and coming in there huge numbers. It's going to be awesome the weekend. I think it's Saturday 12 o'clock. Stadium of Light. We have to find another performance. We have to prepare the rest of the week and be ready. I think it's Luton. We have to be ready for Luton, and we've had 2 draws against them this year. And let's wait and see. Listen, we've got picked up an injury to Dennis. We picked up an injury to Gucci. We are running out of defenders rapidly, and they've got 2 6'4" centre forwards. And so, as I sit here now, the conundrum in front of us is really difficult. But we have to prepare through the week, decide how we're going to do it and how we're going to play, and with the help of the fans behind us, I'm sure we'll make a real good encounter for ourselves, and hopefully we can give ourselves something to hang on to in the second leg.
Perhaps too early, but Sirkin and Gooch, I mean, how bad do you think they are?
Oh, listen, Dennis got an ankle problem. He said he couldn't move his ankle. It solidified on him. He was getting no feel in it, so we have to wait and see. That you need scans on these things. I'd sit here and hope that you can strap it up, give him an injection, whatever it is, and send him out and go and play. But and Gooch, I've got less concern with Gooch because I think Gucci's leg could be hanging off and he'll play for us, to be honest. So I think let's hope that it's positive news and we can put a team out that's going to be really competitive. And I think regardless of who plays, we'll be competitive anyway, and the supporters will drive the team, and hopefully we can find a way.
You talk about finding a way. I mean, at one point Gooch must have been the smallest centre-half in history, wasn't he? I mean, you still managed to win the game with a blistering 10-minute spell. In fairness, those goals were fantastic.
Yeah. We talked about trying to keep the ball alive, keep it on the grass, keep it on the pitch, keep moving it about, don't give them too many set play opportunities. Obviously, we suffered last week from 2 headed goals from corners. It's not easy because I think they're a decent team, and we got that control bit wrong, I think, for staff. We played 2v2 too often, and they managed to get down the side and get a shot and ricochet, and it's off and it's a corner, and
Luke, absolutely.
But yeah, listen, they're amazing, and I've said to you the last few weeks how much hard work from Ali, the goalkeeping coach, Baccarini. He puts in, I think he's up all night working on the best scenario of who's going to be zonal, who's going to be marking. And sometimes, if Patrick Roberts has to mark, and yet he'll be marking a 6'5" guy. His job isn't to jump above him and win the header. His job is to stop his feet pattern and stop his running, really, and so that our zonal players can go and hit the ball. And they're doing it amazingly well and taking on board the information amazingly well.
And if you were trying to avoid scores from elsewhere, I guess you couldn't really, because the Sunderland fans behind that goal were telling you. Basically.
I'm always a bit wary when that, because I watched the League 2 stuff yesterday. The last minutes of injury time, and the playoffs for the National League's ridiculous. 99 minutes goals for both games. I think it's like. So I didn't really want to hear somebody was winning, somebody was losing. It doesn't matter. Let's just win our game, and what'll be at the end. And but we're there. We've miraculously we've done it. I think we've played a way that. I'm not saying it warranted it, because there's some big clubs in this league, and obviously if you're Millwall or Blackburn at this moment, that's pretty devastating for them. But particularly as they've been up there most of the season. And but hopefully we've got a little bit of momentum. Hopefully we'll have some choices, decisions to make on the selection of the team, and it's a few games. I'm not sure, 9 or 10 games since we've been defeated now, I think, and so we're going in with some real momentum, and let's see how it goes. It's what I do know is that second game at Luton, whatever the score in the first game, is tough because it's tight, small ground. They get the ball forward early. They put a lot of people in your box, and it's scary at times. So it's going to be an interesting 2 matches.
That is the Sunderland head coach Tony Mowbray speaking to BBC Radio Newcastle. Sunderland commentator Nick Barnes. Gary Bennett is still at Deepdale following Sunderland's 3-0 win over Preston, securing their place in the Championship playoffs. And Bennett, just a quick few thoughts on Tony Mowbray's thoughts there after the match. You mentioned all the work and hard work that's been put in to get to this point. Well, they've got the reward for it, haven't they?
They have indeed, and that's what you get for hard work. You get your rewards, and as Tony Mowbray stressed, they'll find a way. He's just talked about Dennis Sirkin there. He's picked up an injury, and then hopefully, he'll be fit for Saturday. Lyndon Gooch, we all know what Lyndon Gooch is all about. He'll be fit. Everybody will want to try to, if they've got a chance of being fit for Saturday, they'll want to be out there, for the playoff at the first leg. So, but if not, as Tony Mowbray just mentioned, they'll find a way, which they have been doing all season.
And after crushing our phone lines before for all the calls that we received, we have eventually got our phone lines back up and running. Tom, give us a phone call this evening on 0800 234 6565. You can as well. Good evening, Tom.
Good evening, lads.
Well, that was a pretty emotional roller coaster of an afternoon for you, I bet.
Absolutely fantastic. You know what I mean? I've been professional all season, just to keep on going and see where it takes us. And we've got no just rewards today because the second half we played absolutely brilliant. We scored 3 cracking goals. This football team is just something else, and I'm just so proud of Sunderland Football Club.
Yeah, I agree with you, Tom. As I said, they've given us something which you've got to say at the start of the season we didn't see it coming. But they've just gone on, and they've gone from strength to strength. They've got that belief, and Tony Mowbray, as I keep mentioning, is the way he's managed the players, the way he's managed the club, the way he's managed situations. He needs a pat on the back.
This team, Gary, you know what I mean? It's came on leaps and bounds. We shouldn't even be up there, never mind being in the playoffs. It's absolutely fantastic. These young lads have done Sunderland Football Club very proud, and they can just take it as far as they want now. And if we do get beat in the playoffs and things like that, I don't really matter. You know what I mean? Because it's been such a good season for us. Yeah. We can look for, just see we don't get into the finals and things like that. We can look to next season, to a better season. We've been there, we've done it. We've got the attitude. We play a lovely football, the flowing football that we play, which we haven't had the defenders in. We haven't had a noticed striker in. We've had a little lad up front, little Gelhardt. You know what I mean? He's run his legs off. He should be one of the ones that we try and sign for next year, even if he doesn't play centre forward when we get Ross Stewart back, which I hope we do. But that's all in the pipeline and things like that. Sunderland Football Club can only look up and look for better things coming, and I cannot wait. You know what I mean? I'll be there. I'll be there supporting our team because I love our football team.
And from early start of the season, we've been mentioning that we don't look out of place in the Championship because people thought that we was going to struggle. Yeah. And at the end of this game, we are not lucky to be in the playoffs. We deserve to be in the playoffs.
We certainly do.
You do need a little bit of luck to go your way, which we did have, and you've got to think Blackburn coming off the pitch against Millwall, getting a result like that, especially when you're 3-1 down, to come back and be 4-3 up, coming off, then they're thinking we must be in the playoffs. But Sunderland have come up with the goods, and a lot of the supporters who travelled here this afternoon, I would have said 99.9% of them knew that we was going to get a result. We needed a little bit of luck to go our way in regards to, but we would have been upset. We would have been devastated if we would have come off that pitch today not winning.
Yeah, totally agree with.
And the result's gone our way.
Played excellent the second half, and the goals were absolutely tremendous, all three of them.
Quality.
Yeah. And the team, if we can keep it together and keep these young lads going, we can only look up all the time, and we get a few more extra faces in next season. Whether it be a little bit on the mature side that helps the young lads, or get all young lads in, we cannot complain. Let's face it, nobody thought that we'd be up there at this time of the season.
No, not at all. And I think it's just a case of, see where we end up. I think that's what they said at the start of the season. See where we end up.
Yeah, totally agree, Gary.
Tom, thank you very much for your phone call. Sorry just to cut you off a little bit short there, but we can now hear from Sunderland's winger, Jack Clark, who's been speaking to BBC Radio Newcastle's Sunderland commentator, Nick Barnes.
What an afternoon. I mean, remarkable. I don't know how much of it you've absorbed and can take in.
We just focused on the game, to be honest. We knew we had a job here that we had to get done before anything else. We didn't really focus too much on other games and other results going on. We just knew we had to get our job done, and then if things fell right for us, which it did, we could celebrate afterwards, but we focused on ourselves more so.
You give Preston their due, they had a go. I mean, 0-0 at half time, I think could have been 3-3, 4-4, couldn't it? Yeah,
it was quite an open game, to be honest. We knew they were going to be a tough opposition. We had a tough game against them at home earlier on in the season, and they were only 3 points behind us going into this game. We knew they were a good team, we knew what they were about, but we knew once we got that first goal, we could build on that. It'd open up a bit more, and it did, and we got the second and third to put the game to bed.
I mean, that 10-minute spell was blistering, and the 3 goals, I mean, fantastic finishes.
I think, to be honest, the fans have probably got used to seeing it. That's like how we try to play football. When it comes off, it looks beautiful. Sometimes it doesn't come off and it looks probably not as good, but today it was our day.
How much were you aware of what was happening elsewhere? I know you probably don't know the scores, but the reaction of the fans each time, you can't have avoided that, could you?
Going in at half-time, we heard a few bits and bobs as we were walking in, like Millwall winning 3-1, I think. Coventry were maybe 1-0 up or 1-1 or something, so it weren't doing us any favours. But at that point, we weren't even winning our own game, so we didn't focus on that too much, to be honest. We knew if we got our job done, it was out of our hands, and thankfully Blackburn did us a favour in the end.
Tony Mowbray always says, you will find a way. This team will always find a way. And I know you were reliant on other teams doing you a favour this afternoon, but the fact that you've now found yourselves in the playoffs, I mean, it is a fairy tale, isn't it?
Yeah, as some would say. Us as a group, we always thoroughly thought throughout the season that we could get in there and we deserved to be in there. And to get in there today and cement our spot in there, it's a big achievement for us as a team, a big achievement for the club, especially with the amount of injuries and setbacks we've had this year. But like I said, we've got a great group of lads, and every time one of them puts on a shirt, they're going to give 110%, so it doesn't matter who's playing or who's coming in. We know we're going to go out there and give it our all.
Sunderland's Jack Clark there, speaking to BBC Radio Newcastle Sunderland commentator Nick Barnes. Clark, of course, scoring Sunderland's third goal in a 3-0 win over Preston today. Just enough time this evening on Total Sport to speak to Sunderland fan Mike, who gave us a phone call this evening, 0800 234 6565. Good evening, Mike.
Good evening, lads. You okay?
Hello, Mike.
Thoughts on that then, Mike? The playoffs? Did you ever think this was going to be possible at the start of the season?
Did we? No, not at all. Who did really? Do you know what I mean? You'd have taken top 10, wouldn't you? No problem, but I'd have taken 4th, I think, to be perfectly honest with you. You know, it's how many teams go up for the playoffs in League One and do this? You know, it's everything now is just a bonus, isn't it? You know, you just take it as it comes for now.
Yeah, and again, you know, it's a bonus. As I said, nobody was expecting us to even going into the last game playing for something, but we have done the way we've done it. We've got 2 big games coming up, and I think Sunderland supporters will be thinking the 2 winnable games.
Oh, exactly. I mean, Ben, if you know anyone who's got a spare ticket for a Luton game, by the way, I'm down there that night anyway through work, so the stars are aligning, so...
You better start queuing up now.
I've just put my nana on eBay, trying to see what I want to get for her. So, you know. But no, in all seriousness, I mean, I think the only thing that Luton really have is going to be their physicality, isn't it? Again, and hopefully we'll have Dan Ballard back, give us that bit more steel in there. But I mean, the football Sunderland play is unbelievable. They'll try their best to play the one off the park, won't they? I mean, that second half today. And then once it went 1-0, I think Preston, they were basically planning their Ryanair flights, weren't they, to Malaga? But, you know, you can only beat what's in front of you, and they did it very well today. And then hopefully the next couple of games go our way as well.
Yeah, and, you know, from my point of view, the football, some of the football we've played today is some of the best football I've seen Sunderland play.
Oh, it's unbelievable. I'm 45, Gary, and no offence, but I've never seen a Sunderland team play football like this. Yeah, I've seen some good football, some good Sunderland teams, especially under Reedy, the team that you were in that went up in 1990, but you just never see the football. I mean, Roberts, I still can't get over the fact that we have Roberts and Jack Clark in League One. You know, how on earth do we manage that?
But what they are doing, they've got belief now. They're playing somewhere where they're happy to go and perform. You know, and you know, it's not just a one-off. You know, usually you see it in one game and we don't see it in another. We're seeing it week in, week out. This is what we expect, and we keep talking about if the likes of your Ahmeds or your Roberts or your Clarks or your Dan Neil play, that you win the game.
Yeah, exactly.
On their ability alone.
I just wish that they could somehow transform that away form into a home form. Yep. That's the issue. But, you know, it's a cup game, and it's a cup final, a cup semi-final, cup game on there Saturday, so it can just go either way. And I thought we did all right against them in the home game when we played them. So you never know. You never know.
You never know. That's it,
exactly.
Mate. Excellent.
Hey. All right.
Enjoy. Mike, thank you very much for your phone call this evening. Just enough time for a couple of quick messages. This is from Pete in Washington. He says, if we are thanking people, let's thank Kirill Louis-Dreyfus and let's keep Tony Mowbray, of course. That's with a few links to an Italian coach maybe coming in the summer as well. This is from Gary. He says, we've got the spirit of 73 in this, Gary. It's quite appropriate that on the weekend of the 50th anniversary, Sunderland have managed to get in the playoffs as well. Just some final thoughts then, Gary. Just going into a big week, couple of weeks now for Sunderland. Premier League football, 3 games away.
I had my holiday booked. I was supposed to be going away tomorrow, but I'll have to cancel it now. No, it's fantastic. I tell you what, you know, the supporters, it's what they deserve, but also the team and the manager, it's what they deserve. You know, it's not lucky to be in the playoffs. They deserve to be where they are.
Give us a flavour of what that bus journey back up to Sunderland's going to be like tonight for, well, the players and the supporters.
Well, it'll be a long queue. That's right, going over that 66.
I bet there's have you had any text messages about tickets already for the playoffs?
Not yet. I've changed my number.
You'll have to get your suit out back for Wembley,
Indeed.
Good stuff. Gary Bennett.
Cheers, Dom.
Thank you very much for your company this evening. Gary Bennett on commentary duty. As always here on BBC Radio Newcastle. Sunderland then beating Preston by 3-0. Blackburn winning away at Millwall means Sunderland are into the playoff places. Their season isn't over just yet. They're in the playoffs. Fans are daring to dream of a return to the Premier League. A reminder then, Total Sport will be back on BBC Radio Newcastle tomorrow from 6.
Roberts, just outside the penalty area, slipped it inside to Ahmad, who plays it back to Roberts. And Roberts now looking to get it on his left and try and play it into Ekwa.
What a goal that is!
Ahmad!
Come on!
One in the top left corner. Almost a replica of his goal at Wigan. What an exquisite touch from Ahmad. Picked his spot, top left corner. The bank goes wild and Sunderland lead 1-0. Ahmad now with Clark on the left-hand side. Clark into the penalty area. Go Richard! That's Richard! Go on! Turns it into the bottom left-hand corner. Left yards. And Sunderland lead 2-0.
Great finish.
On the hour. halfway line. Trying to find Clark on the left-hand side here. Ahmad's pulled back. Clark's still got the ball, edge of the area. Right foot. Yeah! It's 3-0 and Jack Clark has curled it into the bottom corner. Sunderland are going to win this game.
What a goal. Total Sport.
On the station with...
There we go. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you again soon. See you later.